Chapter 466. Child Shin returned to the room and found that Jongmi had fallen asleep again. Mimi. He took a shower and climbed into bed. Hearing his voice, Jongmi automatically rolled into his arms. Child Shin was so scared that he hurriedly looked at her belly for fear of crushing it. This won't do. If she still rolls like this when she's pregnant, won't she crush my daughter to death? Lying down with Jongmi in his arms, he decided to teach this girl a lesson tomorrow. As for the idea of crushing his daughter to death, Child Shin had already consciously believed that the baby in his belly was a girl. He liked girls who were soft and cute. It would be best if they were like Asha. When Jongmi was almost 4 months pregnant, it happened to be early summer. Shin Batian decided to hold a ball at the Shin family's house on the weekend to introduce her to the upper class. Jongmi was unwilling at first, but Child Shin said to her, "Not for anything else, just to tell those people that I have you." Jongmi understood what he meant. With Child Shin's status, he usually had a lot of social activities and would definitely meet all kinds of women. Now he loved Jongmi so much that he didn't even want to put on a show. So he had to let those women outside know how important Jongmi was to him. Of course. Jongmi rubbed her hands. My mother can't be disgraced. So on the day of the ball, Child Shin's face turned green when he saw her tight miniskirt. What are you wearing? He gritted his teeth and asked. Jongmi swayed her waist and walked in front of him. A dress. I know it's a dress, but why is it so short? Is it on the top or the chest? Child Shin pointed with his finger. Are you stupid? Jongmi touched his head. Has my dress always been like this? Child Shin was stunned. Yes, it had been a long time since they had participated in this kind of activity together. He had forgotten that Jongmi had always dressed up hotly. You change? Child Shin opened the walk-in closet and picked out the maternity dress he had bought. In the past, he always felt that it was comfortable to look at a woman when she dressed up sexily. Now that his wife was dressed like this, he simply couldn't stand it. In particular, Jongmi's lower abdomen was slightly bulging, but her waist was still very slender. She looked especially seductive, giving people the desire to strip her naked. This skirt is all the way up to your ankles, okay? My beautiful legs are covered. Jongmi shook the dress that Child Shin had picked for her. Besides, my stomach isn't that big. Seeing that she was still dawdling, Child Shin quickly stripped her naked and put on the dress he had chosen for her. Huh. Jongmi looked at herself in the mirror. It's not bad. This crescent white gauze dress was layered and had a high-waisted corset style, revealing a snow-white bosom. Her cleavage was faintly discernible, and as she walked, she looked like an immortal. How about? Child Shin smiled and said with a flattering face, let's change to another one. Get lost. When Shin Batian saw Jongmi downstairs, he also praised her. Girl, you're so beautiful today. You look like a fairy. Ha ha ha. Jongmi nodded shamelessly. I think I look like a fairy too. She turned around and winked at Child Shin, who had a bitter expression on his face. Thank you for the dress, honey. Child Shin didn't think it was good at all. His wife was already beautiful, and now that she was dressed up, she was even more beautiful. He really didn't want her to go out and see people. Are you constipated? Shin Batian poked his son with his cane. Why are you giving me such a long face? Seeing the look in his father's eyes, Child Shin returned to normal. If he gave a long face, it would be Jongmi who would be embarrassed. People would think that they didn't have a good relationship. Don't leave my side. Don't eat spicy food or cold food. Child Shin held Jongmi in his arms. Later, if you want to talk, just say it. It's okay if you don't want to talk. Okay. Jongmi nodded obediently. Now was not the time to be capricious. They had to be of one mind as husband and wife. In addition to the leaders of the underworld, there were also some businessmen and stars. Basically, all the people in the upper-class circle came to the Shin family's banquet. In the past 2 months, Child Shin's high-profile behavior had shown them how powerful the men of the Shin family were. Today, many people came to see the woman who had the Dragon King's token of the Shin family. Mrs. Shun is so beautiful. Mrs. Shun, I've heard a lot about you. Mrs. Shun is pregnant but still so beautiful. Jongmi almost fainted along the way. She quietly tugged at Child Shun's sleeve. Hey, isn't there anyone who hates our family? Of course. Child Shin pouted. Then I won't come. Zhang Mi looked up and saw a young man standing in front of them. He looked young, but his eyes were very sharp. He didn't look easy to get along with. I thought you would hide in the country and not come back. The man didn't speak kindly when he spoke. Child Shin smiled. I'll come back when I've had enough fun. Oh, is that so? Including your wife? In other words, his wife was also a plaything. Child Shin's eyes turned cold. He was about to speak. Zhang Mi said sarcastically, I'm his only gain, so he can't wait to kidnap me back to get married and make a baby. As she spoke, she touched her belly. The man probably didn't expect Zhang Mi to speak and look at him impatiently. He couldn't help but look at Child Shin. So, you like this kind of woman? Child Shin looked at Zhang Mi gently. You'll know when you meet her. Zhang Mi thought, damn, what's going on? Aren't they enemies? Mimi, his name is Chu Bai. Child Shin paused. He's a policeman. Hello. Zhang Mi smiled. Are you going to arrest my husband? Chu Bai also smiled, but his eyes were still cold. As long as he gives me a chance, I'll put him in prison. Haha. Zhang Mi's mouth twitched. No matter how she looked at it, they were like good friends. Chu Bai seemed to be deliberately provoking Child Shin. After a round of sarcasm, he left. Seeing that it was almost midnight, Child Shin hugged Zhang Mi and prepared to leave first. Just then, he saw a man hurrying over with a woman. Zhang Mi didn't know if it was an illusion, but she felt that the woman looked a little familiar. Mr. Shin. The man called him politely. You are? Child Shin frowned. He didn't know this man. The man was wearing glasses, but it still couldn't hide his somewhat arrogant appearance. He seemed to be born very aggressive. I'm Dai Jixuan from the All Well Group. The man handed over his business card. It's on the 5th Street. Child Shin said. Oh, I know you. The All Well Group was a company opened last year. Its main business was entertainment. It was doing well at present, and it already had several branches. The project focused on China's characteristics, and foreigners liked it very much. I'm taking the liberty to stop you because my wife wants to see Mr. Shen. The woman who had been silent all this time seemed to be very shy. She lowered her head and didn't dare to say anything. Xiaoya. Dai Jixuan held her shoulder. Say hello. The woman looked up at Child Shen. After a long time she said, Brother Shen, do you remember me? I'm Bai Xiaoya. Zhang Mi took a breath instantly. No wonder she looked familiar. Wasn't she the little girl in the photo? Xiaoya. Shen looked at her in surprise. It's really you. When did you come back? Bai Xiaoya saw that Child Shen still remembered her. She was relieved and smiled. Jixuan came to do business. Of course, I had to follow. Mimi, this is Xiaoya. Child Shen introduced her to Zhang Mi. Bai Xiaoya hurriedly called her sister-in-law and said with a smile, I thought Brother Shen would never get married in this life. I didn't expect that after not seeing you for so many years, you would give me a surprise as soon as we meet. Haha, didn't you break up when you were young? Was he already a woman's enemy at that time? Zhang Mi had always been straightforward. Since Bai Xiaoya didn't say it clearly, she would make it clear for her. Bai Xiaoya's expression stiffened for a moment. She immediately smiled and shook her head. How old were we at that time? Haha. I only knew it when I read the newspaper later. Child Shen didn't care about what she said. He was only worried that Zhang Mi would stand for too long. Xiaoya, since you are here, I'll take you to see my dad. Mr. Dai, come with us. Shen Batian was also surprised when he saw Bai Xiaoya, but he was very happy to chat with them. Child Shen took the opportunity to help Zhang Mi go upstairs first. Back in the room, Child Shen helped Zhang Mi change her shoes. Seeing that she had been staring at him, he smiled and said, Just say what you want to say. Tut tut. Zhang Mi rolled her eyes. This person can't help but talk about it. I just talked about him a few months ago, and he popped up today. Child Shen helped her change into pajamas. So, stop pretending. Zhang Mi looked at him fiercely. The couple must have something to do. Otherwise, why would they come to see you? Yes, I know. Child Shen went into the bathroom to turn on the water. Zhang Mi shouted outside. How do you know? Dai Jishuan's entertainment city was doing well, which affected the income of the entertainment city on the original streets. They hired some people to make trouble for him, and even threatened him. Dai Jishuan had no foundation in this area. He called the police several times and then left it unsettled. Maybe Bai Xiaoya mentioned to him that she and Child Shin were neighbors when they were young, so he took the opportunity to come to see him. Are you going to help them? After the shower, Child Shin hugged her and got into bed. I'm not that free. He had forgotten Bai Xiaoya long ago. Even if he remembered, they were just neighbors when they were young. They didn't say anything. I'll pretend I don't know. Child Shin put his hand on Zhangmi's belly, feeling the little life inside. He felt very satisfied at the moment. Zhangmi felt a little warm from his hand. She shifted her body and lay down properly. Your neighbor isn't a simple girl, you know. Oh, is my wife jealous? Child Shin lowered his head and kissed Zhangmi. Come on, call me something nice. I'll definitely ignore her. He thought that Zhangmi would definitely kick him. However, she put her arms around his neck and called sweetly, honey. She also rubbed her bare thighs against him. Feeling the changes in his body, Child Shin kissed her fiercely. Little minx. When both of them were out of breath, he looked up and pinched Zhangmi's nose. You know you can't do it now. Be good. Zhangmi laughed and snuggled into his arms. We can do it in half a month. Don't seduce me. I'll be very restrained. Child Shin also knew that they could have sex in the later stages of pregnancy. However, for the safety of Zhangmi and the baby, he tried not to touch her. Then you're not allowed to see Bai Xiaoya in private. Zhangmi yawned. If you want to go, you must let me know. Child Shin happily agreed. This was the first time that Zhangmi was jealous. He was very happy in his heart. But on second thought, she was pregnant. What if this girl's imagination ran wild and affected her mood? As if they had agreed, Bai Xiaodai came to him a few days later. Brother Shin, I'm sorry to ask you out. Bai Xiaoya and Child Shin were sitting in a cafe. Bai Xiaoya was wearing a white dress and her long hair was over her shoulders. She looked very lovely. Child Shin smiled. Say it. Last time you went to my house to attend the ball, I knew you had something to ask me. Since you've asked me out, don't be embarrassed. Bai Xiaoya bit her lip. Can you help us? Those gangsters are always going to make trouble, and the police don't care. If this goes on, our group will have to apply for bankruptcy. She summoned up her courage and then looked at Child Shin pitifully. I know. We haven't seen each other for so many years. You may have forgotten me, but I really can't help it. Xiaoya. Child Shin interrupted her. You don't have to be so polite. We were so close when we were young. This is just a small matter. Brother Shin. Bai Xiaoya suddenly cried. Thank you so much. Child Shin frowned. Xiaoya, are you still hiding something? No. Bai Xiaoya shook her head to hide the panic in her eyes. I'm too excited. Because of these things, Jishuan's body is about to explode. If we can't solve it, we can only go back to China. Child Shin was about to comfort her, but suddenly his eyes turned. Bai Xiaoya saw his whole expression became very gentle. Finished shopping? Taking the things in Zhangmi's hand, Child Shin helped her to sit down. Bai Xiaoya wanted to stand up, but was stopped by Zhangmi. Don't be so polite. Then she said, Why are you crying? You guys talk, I'm going to the bathroom. Child Shin glanced at Bai Xiaoya. Don't be nervous. If you want to say anything, just tell Mimi. After Child Shin left, Zhangmi lazily leaned on the chair and didn't say anything. Bai Xiaoya had to take the initiative to say, It turns out that Sister Mimi is also here. It's all Brother Shin's fault for not telling me. You have to walk outside. Haha. Zhangmi smiled. I was shopping in the mall upstairs, so I asked him to see you. Otherwise, he is so busy. I don't know when he will be free. Bai Xiaoya's face changed, and her eyes that had just cried began to turn red again. Zhangmi looked at her with a smile, and heard Child Shin's voice. Why are you crying again? Child Shin pulled out a chair and sat down, handing the bag in his hand to Zhangmi. Zhangmi took it, and her eyes lit up. You have it? Yes, I ordered it when I just came here. Child Shin saw Bai Xiaoya looking at them in a daze, and asked with a smile. Mimi loves to eat stinky tofu from the Chinese restaurant downstairs. Do you want to try it? No. Bai Xiaoya smiled reluctantly. I can't eat it. In the end, Child Shen and Zhang Mi sent Bai Xiaoya home. And in the evening, someone sent the investigation materials. You read it first. Child Shen handed the documents to Zhang Mi, and then began to feed her with a plate of fruit. After reading 2 pages, Zhang Mi chuckled. This little girlfriend of yours is not simple at all. What little girlfriend? At most she is an old friend. Child Shen put a strawberry into her mouth. Read it for me. Bai Xiaoya was quite pitiful. After her family returned to China, their business failed, and she was reduced from a rich young lady to an ordinary citizen. After graduating from college, she was not willing to live like this, especially after she met Dai Jixuan. The Dai family was a well-known figure in the north. Originally, Dai Jixuan already had a fiancé of equal social status, but who knew that he fell in love with Bai Xiaoya and wanted to marry her. Finally, she was sent to the United States by her family. If she could take care of Bale well, the Dai family would recognize her as their daughter-in-law. That is to say, she and Dai Jixuan are not married yet. Child Shen frowned. No wonder she was so anxious. Zhang Mi kicked him, implying that he should quickly feed her. Child Shen gave her a piece of apple. Zhang Mi said while eating, "This girl can drive away his fiancé. How can she be easy to deal with? She obviously came to ask you for help, but she doesn't like me." She told Child Shen about Bai Xiaoya's deliberate provocation today. I guess she is jealous. Oh, it doesn't matter if she is just jealous. Just don't do anything stupid. Child Shen sneered. It seems that she will have to wait for a while to ask me for help. Zhang Mi shot him a look. Don't be like that. You've already agreed. Just do it. Oh, this is not my wife's style. Child Shen kissed her. You have always been the type to bite whoever bites you to death. It's her business how she wants to live. If you don't help her, she will come to you again. Zhang Mi pushed Child Shen's arm away and stretched. I'm sleepy. Let's sleep. The man nodded and carefully carried her to bed. What Zhang Mi didn't say was that since Bai Xiaoya was jealous of her, she must have hope for Child Shen. If she had a few more chances to get in touch with him, she would be more ambitious. She was confused about other things, but Zhang Mi had always been decisive about men and women. No one could have designs on her man. Young Master Shen knew what the little girl at home was thinking. He didn't want Zhang Mi to worry about other women. Ever since the two of them confessed their feelings for each other, he hadn't had any contact with other women in private. Sometimes he thought that he deserved it. If he hadn't been such a woman before meeting Zhang Mi, he wouldn't have to be so cautious now. Xiaoya, it's all thanks to you this time. Dai Jixuan happily hugged Bai Xiaoya as soon as he came back today. Bai Xiaoya hurriedly asked, Is it settled? It's settled. Dai Jixuan said. Child Shen talked to them. It seems that the other party has a good background. Later, I heard from Child Shen's people that they gave them some territory. He loosened his tie. This time, I really want to thank Child Shen. When is he free? Let's treat him to a meal. Bai Xiaoya was very happy to hear that Child Shen could help her like this. Okay, I'll contact him later. A week later, Child Shen received a call from Bai Xiaoya. Brother Shen, thank you for helping us. Jixuan and I want to treat you to a meal. You and your wife are treating each other to a meal, but you only invited me. Young Master Shen rolled his eyes inwardly. No, I want to stay at home with my wife, he said lightly. There was an obvious pause on the other side of the phone before saying, Oh, ask Miss Zhang to come together. I think it's more appropriate for you to call her Mrs. Shen. Child Shen's voice was cold. He didn't want to talk to Bai Xiaoya anymore. Those childhood memories were destroyed by the jealousy and greed of today's women, and gradually dissipated in the wind. Except for Zhang Mi, there was no woman he could accommodate. Then tomorrow you husband and wife can come together. Bai Xiaoya's voice was obviously trembling. She knew that Child Shen was unhappy. She couldn't help scolding herself for being impatient. Child Shen thought about it and agreed. Otherwise, he was afraid that they would be implicated in the future. With this meal, some people's thoughts would be cut off, and he hoped that she would be happy. Dai Jixuan invited them to a meal in the best Michelin restaurant. Zhang Mi was very happy because she liked the food here. Mr. Shun, Mrs. Shun. Dai Jixuan raised his champagne. This time, it's all thanks to you. Next to him, Bai Xiaoya also touched Zhang Mi's glass. Thank you. The guests and the host enjoyed the meal. Bai Xiaoya seemed to recognize the reality, and her attitude towards Zhang Mi was very sincere. On the way back, Child Shin began to frown when he received a phone call. What's wrong? Zhang Mi poked him. You can't bear to part with your childhood sweetheart? Child Shin glared at her. Dai Jixuan went to the hospital for a physical examination last month. And now the report is out. What do you mean? He has liver cancer, and it's already in the final stage. Things in the world were so strange. Suddenly, a disaster flew out and sent people to hell. Dai Jixuan, who was about to reach the peak of his career, almost fainted when he learned that he had liver cancer. No, I don't believe it. Bai Xiaoya hugged him and cried. Jixuan, it's okay, it's okay. Cancer can be cured. We'll find the best doctor, and he will definitely cure you. Soon, Dai Jixuan was hospitalized for treatment. A month later, the cancer spread to the whole body. The hospital recommended that he be discharged, and Bai Xiaoya informed the Dai family. Dai Jixuan's mother came to pick her up in person. When she saw Bai Xiaoya, she almost hit her. She blamed all of this on her, and didn't let her go back to China. But Dai Jixuan insisted, so she was taken back. 2 months later, Zhang Mi was strolling in the courtyard with a big belly when she saw Child Shin come in with a strange expression. Dai Jixuan is dead. Zhang Mi sighed. It's really life is unpredictable. That's not the point, right? Seeing that Child Shin's expression was still unhappy, she thought for a moment and asked, is it related to your childhood sweetheart? Young Master Shin was too lazy to correct the way she addressed Bai Xiaoya. He helped her into the house and said, Dai Jixuan left all his shares in the United States to Bai Xiaoya. What a good man. Zhang Mi was surprised. Doesn't Bai Xiaoya make a profit? Chapter 467. In fact, the pie was not so easy to eat. First of all, the Dai family did not agree, but Dai Jixuan found a lawyer to make a will. Later, the Dai family wanted to discuss with Bai Xiaoya and spend money to buy back the shares. That's good. That money is enough for her to live a comfortable life. Zhang Mi really felt that Bai Xiaoya was lucky. Child Shin sneered. She refused. Yes, Bai Xiaoya was already on her way to the United States. That was what she told young Master Shin when she called him earlier. Brother Shin, I don't want to let Jixuan down. Since he left the company to me, I will take good care of it for him. I won't sell bail. Zhang Mi was happy. She didn't believe the woman's words. Child Shin saw that her smile was so fake. He pinched her nose and said, Don't think about it and don't frame me. I have nothing to do with her. But I don't think so. Zhang Mi laughed. Now the days were not boring. Child Shin picked up the woman who bared her teeth at him and walked upstairs quickly. It's almost 6 months. Your husband can't hold it anymore. When Zhang Mi was pregnant for 6 months, she suddenly entered the state of being stupid for 3 years. What should I do? Child Shin touched her belly and gloated. You're already stupid. Now you look even more stupid. Zhang Mi was still in a daze. After about 10 seconds, she stared at him and shouted, You're stupid. Yes, 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 I'm stupid. Child Shin held back his laughter and peeled an orange for her. Zhang Mi stuffed 2 pieces into her mouth and suddenly remembered. Where's your childhood sweetheart? Bai Xiaoya? Child Shin frowned. I don't know. I heard that she arrived in New York last week. Didn't she look for you? Zhang Mi narrowed her eyes. Child Shin pinched her nose. Don't worry. If she looks for me, I'll tell you immediately. Zhang Mi curled her lips. It would be abnormal if he didn't. You're only happy if you have something to do with me. Child Shin felt that she was not only stupid, but also looking for trouble. Maybe it was Zhang Mi's jinx, but Bai Xiaoya showed up the next day. She didn't look for Child Shin. Instead, she went straight to his house under the guise of visiting him. Uncle Shun's sister-in-law. Bai Xiaoya sweetly greeted the two. Zhang Mi stared at her blankly. She didn't react until Shin Batian called her. Have a seat. Don't stand on ceremony. There was something wrong with him calling her sister-in-law out of the blue. Shin Batian had already heard about her situation. Seeing how young and well-behaved the girl was, he felt it was a pity. Xiaoya, if you have any problems, just tell me. Ask your big brother Shin to help you. Thank you. Bai Xiaoya smiled. Fortunately, Zhishuan managed it well before, so I don't feel any pressure taking over now. Probably thinking of her lover, her expression fell. Sai, you're still young. Uncle Shen will introduce you to a good man later. Don't worry. Shin Batian really wanted the best for Bai Xiaoya. When the Bai family was his neighbor, Child Shin was taken care of by them. He was very busy at that time, and Child Shin often stayed over at the Bai family for dinner. Now that they only had one daughter left, it wasn't too much for him to take care of her as his own daughter. I'm not thinking about this now. Bai Xiaoya also sighed. You also know that it's not easy to be a woman in this line of work. I don't want to give up. After all, it's Zhishuan's hard work when he was alive. Shin Batian pondered for a while and didn't say anything. He asked Bai Xiaoya to stay for dinner. Sister-in-law, are you not feeling well? Sitting at the dining table, Bai Xiaoya asked Zhangmi, who had been silent all this time. The concern on her face was very sincere. Zhangmi shook her head. It's nothing. It's just a reaction of pregnancy. Seeing that the dishes were served, she picked up her chopsticks. Don't be polite. Eat by yourself. I won't entertain you. Shin Batian laughed and said, Girl, just take care of yourself. Don't starve my grandson. Dad, Child Shin said it's his daughter. Zhangmi smiled slyly. You two can make a bet. Whoever loses will jump around the house like a frog. You're still so naughty even though you're stupid. Are you trying to make us laugh? Child Shin strode in, lowered his head and kissed Zhangmi. He sat down beside her and looked at Bai Xiaoya. Have the domestic matters been resolved? Bai Xiaoya smiled. And now the bail is mine alone. Boy, go back and have a look. After all, Xiaoya is not a man and has never been in this line of work. Shin Batian said and then said to Bai Xiaoya. Did you hear that? If you have any problems, look for Brother Shen. And Bai Xiaoya revealed a sweet smile. Thank you, Uncle Shen. After dinner, Zhangmi saw that Bai Xiaoya still wanted to chat with her, so she yawned and stood up. Are you sleepy? Child Shin quickly held her. I'll take you upstairs. Zhangmi leaned comfortably on the bed. Child Shin came out of the bathroom drying his hair. It seems that Dad is going to take care of her. Old people. Always nostalgic. Zhangmi looked at Child Shin's Apollo's belt and swallowed. Child Shin saw her and rushed over. Honey, get away. Zhangmi kicked him. Don't touch me. Recently, she had been very sensitive. Child Shin touched her twice and she reacted. The man naturally knew this and wouldn't let go of this opportunity. His hand slowly went into the quilt and the two hugged. Drink a glass of milk. Zhangmi took it and let Child Shin wipe her with a towel. Then she reached out and asked for a hug. Good girl. Sleep. The man climbed onto the bed and hugged her. Pregnant women were easy to get tired. Besides, she had just exercised, so Zhangmi's breathing soon stabilized. Child Shin kissed her and carefully put on his clothes and went downstairs. Dad. Shin Batian was practicing Tai Chi in the garden. He glanced at Child Shin and said, Be careful. Don't lose my grandson. Child Shin sat aside casually. Bai Xiaoya is not easy to deal with. Why do you care about her? He didn't believe that his father couldn't see that. Shin Batian had seen countless people, and his eyes were very sharp. Otherwise, he wouldn't have decided to let Zhangmi be his daughter-in-law when he saw her. When people get old, they like to recall the past. Shin Batian waved his arms slowly. You probably don't remember that once when you had a fever in the middle of the night, the Bai family sent you to the hospital and left their daughter at home. In the end, Xiaoya woke up and found that there was no one at home. After all, I owe her. I can't just ignore it. Shin Batian took back his fist and sat down. As long as she doesn't have any thoughts about you, she can help. Child Shin curled his lips. She didn't before, but now. Let's wait and see. Shin Baishan's eyes darkened. If she has any thoughts and makes the girl angry, then I won't be polite. After that, Bai Xiaoya didn't come again. Zhang Mi continued to be in a daze every day. Half a month later, she was changing the channel in front of the TV. Suddenly, she heard a news report and quickly changed the channel. In the early hours of this morning, a group of thieves stole from a high-end community. A single woman found that someone had entered her home and was about to call the police. She was found by the thieves and was sent to the hospital with unknown injuries. Zhang Mi stared at the TV for a long time before saying, "Damn, isn't this the community where Qingmei lives?" When Child Shen came back in the evening, he saw Zhang Mi staring at him. "What's wrong? Don't you have anything to say to me?" Zhang Mi squinted at him. Child Shen smiled and helped her to sit down at the table. "Where did Dad go?" "He went fishing." Zhang Mi hit him. "Don't change the topic. Tell me, how do you know it's her?" Child Shen filled a bowl of porridge. "Good girl, drink it first." Zhang Mi said. "Ah, it's really her? How unlucky is that?" "Yes, the hospital called me at noon. I just came back from the hospital." "She called you?" Zhang Mi curled her lips. Child Shen saw her like that and his heart itched. He kissed her and said, "Her phone was full of business calls. I'm Brother Shen, so of course the hospital called me. When I went there, she didn't wake up yet." "She's badly injured?" "Her arm was cut by a knife, and her head hit the door. She has a slight concussion." Child Shen paused. "Do you think it's suspicious?" Zhang Mi snorted. "How can there be such a coincidence? There are so many people, but she was the only one who found the thief." "Don't say that. When I found out about this, I thought the same as you." After Child Shen learned about the situation from the police, his first reaction was that Bai Xiaoya couldn't have found someone to do it herself, right? So he asked his men to investigate. The result was really an accident? Zhang Mi asked in disbelief. "This. What did Bai Xiaoya say?" "She kept crying after she woke up. Then she asked me to help her find a house and move to a safe place." Zhang Mi blinked and was in a daze again. Child Shen looked at her and lowered his head to eat while waiting for her to react. However, before Zhang Mi could figure it out, Shen Batian came back. "Let her live in our house." Child Shen looked at Grandpa Shen. "Dad, did you fall into the sea and get water into your brain?" Shen Batian looked at him angrily. "You're the one who got water into your brain. Dad, what are you thinking?" Zhang Mi didn't believe that the cunning Shen Batian couldn't see through Bai Xiaoya's scheme. Shen Batian touched his beard. "I said I would take care of her. In this situation, it's better to put her in front of me. I've decided to take her as my goddaughter." "You're too free." Child Shen despised him. Zhang Mi said, "Dad, you can do that. It's not appropriate to leave her alone. What if she holds a grudge and does something behind our backs?" "Is she capable of that?" Child Shen sneered. "Then why don't you kill her?" Zhang Mi glared at him. "I can't kill her. Then I'll give her a chance. I hope everyone will be well." Shen Batian nodded. "Look, the girl is so smart. I'm just wondering how you know about this." Child Shen looked at Grandpa Shen. "Did she come to you?" "She didn't." Shen Batian sighed. "Mr. Zhang, who was fishing with us today, likes her." Child Shen raised his eyebrows. "The one who runs a chain supermarket? That old man is over 50 years old, and he's still looking for girls." Shen Batian's face darkened. "Those thieves might be his doing." Hearing this, Child Shen stopped talking. Shen Batian's meaning was very clear. If the Shen family didn't do something now, Bai Xiaoya's fate was obvious. "Are you angry?" After the two returned to the room, they hugged each other. Zhang Mi shook her head. "Dad, this is the best solution for now." "It's okay. Anyway, the house is big. Let her live in the North Tower. She won't even meet her." Child Shen touched his wife's belly. "Why don't we set up a separate kitchen for her?" "No." Zhang Mi closed her eyes. "Like Dad said, let's look under the skin. Everyone can be at ease." Bai Xiaoya was lying alone in the hospital. She didn't know what Child Shen would do. The best result was to send someone to protect her. This time, she came back very clearly. Zhang Mi was pregnant, so she couldn't defend her. Otherwise, the Shen father and son wouldn't let her go. She didn't expect that the accident would help her. As long as Child Shen stood out and let others know that she had a backer, Bai Xiaoya wouldn't be bullied. Knowing that she, Bai Xiaoya, wasn't someone who could be bullied by others, was the best situation for her right now. But she didn't expect that there would be such a big surprise. What did you say? Bai Xiaoya looked at Shen Batian in disbelief. The news that Shen Batian wanted to recognize his goddaughter spread quickly. The women in the upper class had nothing to do all day, other than shopping, dressing up, and gossiping. On the weekend, the Shen family sent out invitations to various celebrities to participate in the ceremony. Everyone already knew Bai Xiaoya's identity. This was undoubtedly a good show of a sparrow turning into a phoenix. Xiaoya, we will be a family from now on. Shen Batian gave her 2 golden bracelets. Bai Xiaoya took them and called him Dad. This is from me and your sister-in-law. Child Shen handed Bai Xiaoya a file bag. She opened it without thinking. On today's occasion, Child Shen must give her something to support her, so she wanted everyone to see it. A jewelry store. Bai Xiaoya was shocked. Brother Shen, this is too expensive. Since we are a family, there is no need to be so polite. Zhang Mi smiled. This jewelry store will be your secret stash in the future. Bai Xiaoya nodded and raised her hand to wipe her eyes. The people around hurried to congratulate them. Shen Batian asked Child Shen to take Bai Xiaoya to meet the people. As for Zhang Mi, she found a quiet place to sit down. Mrs. Shen. Zhang Mi looked up and saw a beautiful woman in a sexy corset dress smiling at her. I am MAK, you can call me Yuling. Hello. Zhang Mi reacted, and the other party had already sat down next to her. Pointing at Bai Xiaoya, who was not far away, she said, "It is easier to invite the devil than to send him away. Mrs. Shen, you should be careful." Zhang Mi smiled. Are you here to remind me? But we don't know each other. Now we know each other. The other party stretched out her hand. The beauty club you often go to is mine. The owner of Magnolia? Zhang Mi was a little surprised. Magnolia was a very oriental beauty salon. It was said that there were many branches in the country. Because of the natural plant formula and ancient oriental technology, it was very popular among celebrities. Zhang Mi was not stupid. She did not feel happy about the friendship that came automatically. She smiled. What? Am I a big customer of yours? Boss Yuling is impressed? Ha ha. Yuling shook the wine glass. I like people like you who are straightforward. She tilted her head, and Zhang Mi found that her eyes were brown. So she was of mixed race. Mrs. Shen's identity is enough to be my guest. Yuling smiled. To tell you the truth, I've always been paying protection fees. We all know how chaotic this country is. Since Zhang Mi became a member, Child Shen paid special attention to her club and sent a few people to keep an eye on her. Now she didn't have to pay protection fees, and no one came to make trouble. The Chinese were very powerful here. No one would offend the Shen family if it was not necessary. He. Zhang Mi chuckled. Should I ask you for a discount then? Zhang Mi chuckled. Yuling thought about it seriously and shook her head. I'm afraid not. Mrs. Shen is now enjoying the lowest price. However, there are some personal things that I can share with you. We'll talk about it after you give birth. It was very pleasant to chat with a straightforward person. When Child Shen came, he saw the 2 women smiling together. Oh, Child Shen is here. I won't be a third wheel. Yuling stood up and gestured. Call me if you're bored. Zhang Mi waved at her. Got it. Bye. Child Shen helped her upstairs. When they passed by the hall, they saw Bai Xiaoya was already talking and laughing with a few socialites. In a few days, your sister will be a celebrity. Zhang Mi shook her head. Is it useful to fight for so much? I once dealt with a traitor. Before he died, he said that you have everything. Every day when you open your eyes, you enjoy things that we can't get in our lives. Why do you have such a good life? I've sacrificed so much, but I still have to listen to you. Zhang Mi blinked and was in a daze again. Child Shen scratched her nose. Do you know what I said? If it were me, I would say where were you when I was fighting to keep everything I have now? You haven't seen me, but it doesn't mean you don't exist. Zhang Mi threw herself onto the bed and said, I don't think you said anything good about me. Haha. Child Shen helped her take off her dress. Well, I said that a good life is also a kind of luck. You don't have such luck, so you're destined to listen to me. I knew it. Zhang Mi curled her lips. I took a shower in the afternoon. I don't want to move. Child Shin took advantage of her for a long time before tucking her under the quilt. Then you sleep first. I'm going to take a shower. Why are you still awake? Child Shin came out and saw that she was still in a daze. He brought a glass of milk over. Zhang Mi drank the milk and snuggled into his arms. Yuling. Haha. Child Shin raised her chin. Are you jealous? Bah. Zhang Mi bit him. Do you think I'm blind? I'm not interested in you. Child Shin nodded. That's true. Yuling didn't have a surname. When Magnolia became famous, everyone knew that there was such a beautiful lady boss. It was said that her father was American and her mother was Vietnamese, so she liked to be called Yuling. What was rare was that this woman had never been attached to any man. Many rich men patronized her beauty salon, and many people pursued her. But they had never heard of her having a relationship with anyone. She's very good, Zhang Mi said sincerely. Child Shin nodded. Old Master often praises her for her intelligence. A woman who could walk among all kinds of men and not be taken advantage of was not only a matter of integrity, but also a matter of brains. If it's her, you can still talk to her. Child Shin turned off the light and lay down with Zhang Mi in his arms. Zhang Mi didn't say anything. She hugged him and closed her eyes. Child Shin felt that Zhang Mi didn't have many friends here. At least it would be less boring if there was a woman who could talk to her. Zhang Mi didn't respond. She didn't have enough time to daydream now. She often sat there for the whole afternoon. One day, when she was about to go to Magnolia for a facial, she remembered Yuling and called her. You're coming today? Yuling laughed on the other side of the phone. You're going to the shop on 7th Street, right? I'll wait for you there in the afternoon. So Zhang Mi saw many of Yuling's so-called ancient secrets in the beauty salon in the afternoon. One of them could make her body fragrant, but unfortunately, it was not suitable for her now. I didn't lie to you, did I? Yuling helped her to the rest area. When it's convenient for you in the future, I'll let you try them one by one. Zhang Mi rolled her eyes and asked her. Do your customers know that you have so many good things in private? Ha! Yuling ordered a glass of juice for her. I'm counting on those things for my retirement. Then she seemed to have seen something. Her smile disappeared. Look, this person's identity is different. Even her complexion looks different. Following her gaze, Zhang Mi's eyes darkened. Bai Xiaoya was walking over with a fashionably dressed woman. She wasn't a member of my salon before. Yuling sat down. She's indeed the young lady of the Shen family. Zhang Mi looked at her in amusement. Why was she being so sarcastic? Then she heard Bai Xiaoya calling her sister-in-law. What a coincidence. Zhang Mi greeted her. Bai Xiaoya looked at her with a smile. I wanted to ask you to come with me, but I was afraid that it would be inconvenient for you. Haha, I come here occasionally. Zhang Mi pointed to a chair. Sit. The woman with Bai Xiaoya didn't even look at Zhang Mi. Instead, she sat beside Yuling. I didn't expect MAK to be here too. Are you here for inspection? No, I'm here to accompany a friend. Yuling glanced at Zhang Mi. Miss Dai. It's rare to see you at this time in the country. The woman called Dai. Looked noble and proud. She glanced at Zhang Mi with disdain. I'm not feeling well these days, so I didn't go to Paris to watch the show. Dai. Bai Xiaoya smiled. Let me introduce you. This is my sister-in-law. Yuling added. Yes, she's also my friend. Zhang Mi saw that Dai was still looking at her with a deadpan face. She rolled her eyes and stood up. It's almost time. I'll call you another day. She looked at Yuling and then nodded at Bai Xiaoya. Sister-in-law, let me send you. Bai Xiaoya saw that Dai didn't want to say anything, so she quickly tried to smooth things over. Zhang Mi shook her head. Mr. Song will come to pick me up. You can accompany your friend. Dai suddenly said. Child Shin is here? I want to see him. Chapter 468. Pfft. Zhang Mi couldn't help but laugh. What are you laughing at? Dai glared at her. Don't think that you can be proud just because you're Mrs. Shen. Zhang Mi didn't bother to talk to her. She picked up her bag and left. Don't go. Dyer grabbed her. Didn't you hear me? I want to see Child Shun. Yuling frowned and held Zhangmi. Miss Dyer, you'd better let go. Mrs. Shun is not in good health. Isn't it just a pregnancy? What's the big deal? Her family has a close relationship with the mafia. People in the underworld usually don't offend them easily. Yuling whispered in Zhangmi's ear. Zhangmi nodded slightly and turned to look at Dyer. You want to see my husband? Yes, you. Dyer's eyes suddenly changed. She stared at the elevator. Child Shun was striding over. Why didn't you answer the phone? He hugged Zhangmi immediately and looked at her face carefully. Zhangmi said, the phone is vibrating. I haven't adjusted it yet. Brother. Bai Xiaoya called with surprise in her eyes. Child Shun nodded at her and then asked Zhangmi. Did you run into each other? Yes. Zhangmi saw Dyer staring at Child Shun shyly and pinched him secretly. Shun took a breath and only then did he notice Dyer. Dyer saw that he was finally looking at her and quickly made a sexy pose. Child Shun, long time no see. Who are you? Child Shun played dumb. Yuling pursed her lips and pushed Dyer, who was embarrassed, and said, my new batch of essential oil is very good. Miss Dyer, do you want to try it? Oh, Dyer still wanted to say something, but Child Shun had already left with Zhangmi. She stomped her feet and followed Yuling to make the essential oil. Bai Xiaoya stood there thinking for a long time before turning around to find Dyer. Zhangmi had always felt that it was abnormal for Child Shun to not have any women around him. Previously, when she was in China, those stars and young models were afraid of the Ying family's name and didn't dare to provoke her. But now, what's with that look? Child Shun stared at the steering wheel and glanced at her. What's the background of that woman? Zhangmi looked like she was ready to listen to gossip. Child Shun slowly drove the car into the garage. He opened the door and helped Zhangmi out before saying, half of the underground forces in New York belong to her family. Her brother is in charge now. Then he is indeed not to be trifled with. She glared at the man who was about to hug her. It's all your fault. If anything happens to me and the baby, you'll be skinned alive by Dad. No. Young Master Shun raised the corner of his mouth. He didn't say that he had a good relationship with Dyer's brother. As early as when he was young, he had told him that he didn't like his sister. Dyer's brother naturally wouldn't force his friend. But now Zhangmi was pregnant, so he was really a little worried. The next day, Child Shun had an appointment with Luo Sijia, Dyer's brother. I thought I wouldn't see you until the end of the year party. Luo Sijia was a tall and handsome white man. If it weren't for the fierceness in his eyes from time to time, people would think that he was a professor or a doctor. Child Shun smiled. If it's not necessary, we'd better not contact each other. Since you're here, let's play 2 rounds. Luo Sijia handed him the club. The two of them were at a golf club. There was no one around except for their respective bodyguards. Tell me, what's the matter? Luo Sijia held a hole and looked at Child Shun proudly. Child Shun shook his head. You know I'm not good at this. It wasn't until he lost 2 rounds to Luo Sijia that he returned to his seat. Can you keep an eye on your sister? Oh, she saw you? Luo Sijia wiped his sweat. That's not good. Child Shun knocked on the table. My wife is pregnant now. I don't want anything to affect her mood. Not to mention the people who can hurt her. I have to kill all the potential threats. Tisk tsk, do you really love her that much? Luo Sijia couldn't believe it. I remember you always say that women should be changed often. Why are you so stubborn? Child Shun didn't bother to explain to him. He stood up and was ready to leave. I've told you. If anything happens to my wife and child, your sister will pay with her life. When he walked away, Luo Sijia shouted behind him. I'll keep an eye on her. I hope so. Child Shun turned his head and glanced at him. Zhangmi didn't know that Child Shun had made a special trip for Dai. She thought that she wouldn't go out now. Even if she went out and met the bodyguards of the Shun family, they wouldn't be easy to deal with. She didn't expect that they would come to her. Sister-in-law. Zhangmi was sitting in the garden and taking a nap when she heard Bai Xiaoya's voice. She narrowed her eyes and saw the bodyguard leading 2 people over. When she saw the woman behind Bai Xiaoya, Zhangmi's face darkened. Why are you free today? She greeted lightly and didn't move. The bodyguard had obviously received the order and didn't leave. He stood behind Zhang Mi. I went shopping with Dai. I remembered that you like stinky tofu, so I bought some for you. Bai Xiaoya put the paper bag that was still warm on the table. Zhang Mi didn't stand on ceremony. She took out a stick and began to eat. Dai saw that Zhang Mi was ignoring her and her face changed. She was about to say something when Bai Xiaoya nudged her. Sister-in-law. She pulled Dai to sit down. Dai is here to apologize to you. Then she gave Dai a look. No matter how reluctant Dai was, she had to endure it for Child Shen. She forced a smile and said, I'm sorry, Miss Zhang. My attitude was bad that day. Xiaoya said that you are a good person. You won't care about it, right? This is the Shen family. I'm Mrs. Shen. Zhang Mi glanced at her. Don't you foreigners call your husband's surname when you get married? Don't you know this, Miss Dai? Dai gritted her teeth. Mrs. Shen, you're not angry with me, right? Well said. Zhang Mi waved her hand and the auntie brought a glass of juice. Zhang Mi took a sip and said, I forgot to ask what you want to drink. Tea or drink? Sister-in-law, you don't have to be so polite. Bai Xiaoya pulled Dai to stand up. We'll get it from the kitchen. When the two walked away, the bodyguard behind Zhang Mi whispered, Madam, it's better to tell the master that it's not convenient for Miss Dai to appear in the Shen family. I know. Zhang Mi smiled. Bai Xiaoya, what can I say about you? When they wanted to go back, they were told that Zhang Mi had gone back to her room to sleep. After leaving the Shen family, Dai began to lose her temper. Who does that woman think she is? How dare she put on airs in front of me? If it weren't for the sake of seeing Child Shen, I wouldn't bear to see her. Bai Xiaoya comforted her. You said it yourself. It's for my brother. Don't be angry. Didn't Child Shen marry her for the sake of the child? Dai was still angry and nagged. Oh, if you have the time to complain, why don't you think of a way? Bai Xiaoya sighed pretentiously. I still prefer you to be my sister-in-law. Dai immediately smiled. Child Shen and I are a perfect match, whether in terms of family background or appearance. Ha ha. Bai Xiaoya nodded and hid the smile on her face. In a place where Dai couldn't see, she showed a proud and satisfied look. Why can you get Child Shen's love and I become his sister? She clenched her fists and suppressed the jealousy in her heart. Humph. I'll be the goddaughter of the Shen family. But what others want to do has nothing to do with me. Xiaoya, if she loses the child, do you think Child Shen will still want her? Dai suddenly said excitedly. I have to think about it carefully and try to make her miscarriage. Bai Xiaoya cried out in horror. That's very dangerous. What if something happens to the adults? Dai looked at her for a while and nodded. Yes, you're right. It's best if both of them die. Then we won't have to worry about anything. Shen Batian and Child Shen didn't say anything after knowing what happened today. But when Zhang Mi fell asleep, the father and son sat in the study for a small meeting. I told you she's not honest. Child Shen crossed his legs. What is this called? Betraying us? We kindly took her in, but she treats us as fools. Shen Batian was very disappointed. He didn't expect Bai Xiaoya to be so jealous. Child Shen sneered. You're the only one who has hope for her. I have to ask Rogers to send Dai away. I don't want to cause a gang war because of this stupid woman. You have to stay with the girl these days. Shen Batian thought for a moment. Dai is a time bomb. She has always liked you. Even without Bai Xiaoya, she will do something to Mimi. I know. Child Shen glanced at the old man. That's why I don't want to come back. Shen Batian ignored him and waved back to the room. When Dai was brought back by her brother, she was still yelling. Brother, why did you call me back? Rogers sighed. Pack your luggage. I'll send you abroad tomorrow. Dai stared at him. Why? I won't go. You have to go even if you don't want to. Rogers said unquestionably. Do you think I don't know what you're thinking? Let me tell you. Bai Xiaoya is using you as a tool. Child Shen loves his wife very much. If you touch that woman, he will definitely turn against me. Nonsense. Dai shouted. He just wants children. Rogers stared at her angrily. Where's your brain? Can't you use your brain? Child Shin can have many women to give birth to children for him. Why does he need to get married? Besides, he didn't love you more than 10 years ago, and he won't love you now. Rogers didn't want to reason with her. Send Miss back to her room, and keep an eye on her. If she runs away, you'll have to deal with it yourself. Dyer still wanted to struggle, but she was pushed upstairs by several men. Brother, you can't do this to me. Brother. Her voice disappeared in the room. Rogers shook his head and called Child Shin. When autumn came, Zhang Mi's due date also arrived. She had been admitted to the hospital, and the experts invited by Child Shin were on standby. Bai Xiaoya left the United States and sold the Bale Group. On the day she left, she went to the Shen family and begged Zhang Mi, sister-in-law, I was wrong. Sister-in-law, I won't do it again. Don't let Dad drive me away. Zhang Mi looked at Bai Xiaoya crying so miserably and didn't sympathize with her at all. She just smiled and asked, Why are you so stupid? Sister-in-law. Bai Xiaoya murmured. Touching her belly, Zhang Mi looked at her. You can live your own life. Why do you have to compare yourself with me? From the beginning to the end, I didn't take you seriously, but you just had to bump into me and lose yourself. She didn't know where Bai Xiaoya went in the end. But Shen Batian had done his best. Bai Xiaoya still had a lot of money. She could live a comfortable life wherever she went. On the day of the operation, Child Shin received a call from Rogers. My sister ran away. Ran away? Child Shin frowned. What do you mean? Rogers sighed on the other side of the phone. She knocked out the bodyguard. I think she has come back. Damn it. Child Shin hung up the phone and took a deep breath before walking into the ward. Zhang Mi saw that he didn't look good. What's wrong? Nothing. Child Shin saw Zhang Mi's eyes start to widen. He had to say impatiently, Dyer ran back. Well, she won't do anything desperate to die with me, will she? Young Master Shin hugged her. Ba ba ba. What nonsense. I surrounded the ward like an iron bucket. I don't believe that she can come in. Because Zhang Mi was afraid of pain, the doctor didn't give her a chance to feel the pain. Instead, he performed a cesarean section directly. At 8 o'clock in the evening, Child Shen's son was born. Before the excitement of the two people died down, they heard Shen Batian shouting outside. Stop her. Put my grandson down. Shen Batian followed the nurse to bathe the baby. He saw a nurse walk in and pick up his grandson. The bodyguard's reaction was also very fast. He immediately blocked the person in the corridor. Boy, it's Dai. Child Shin shouted at him as soon as he walked out. Zhang Mi shouted from inside. What happened? Hurry up and tell me. Dad, don't let her leave. Call Rogers. Child Shin glanced at Dyer. Dyer was wearing a doctor's coat. She didn't even put on makeup. She looked at Child Shin in surprise. Don't you want a son? Now that I have a son, you don't need that woman anymore. Child Shin was about to scold her when he heard Zhang Mi crying inside. He was so scared that he hurried back. Where's my son? Where's my son? Zhang Mi had already heard Dyer's voice. She grabbed Child Shin's hand and asked. Don't worry, don't worry. Child Shin hugged her. You still have a wound. Don't worry. Zhang Mi took a few breaths. Okay, I'm not worried. Tell me, did Dai or take our son away? She's at the door. Dad is watching. Child Shin tried to calm her down. Our son is in her hands. Don't worry, I won't let her leave. Hearing this, Zhang Mi burst into tears. What's the use of not letting her leave? What if she hurts our son? He's just been born. As if to cooperate with her, a baby's cry suddenly came from outside the door. The cry grew louder and louder. It was heart-wrenching. What are you doing? Child Shin held her down. You can't move. Zhang Mi was in so much pain that she almost fainted. But when she heard the baby's cry, she gritted her teeth and tried to stand up. Child Shin held her shoulders tightly. Their eyes met. Girl, trust me, okay? You and the baby are my most precious treasures. I won't let any of you be in danger. Leave it to me. Lie down obediently. Just then the door opened. A doctor walked in with a nurse. It's old Master Shen who let us in. Shen nodded. Please take care of my wife. After that, he stroked Zhang Mi's face and turned to leave. Rogers will be here soon. Shen Batian stood in the middle of the corridor. The bodyguards forced Dai into a corner. But no one dared to step forward. If they moved, Dai would lift the baby up. Give my son back to me. Child Shen walked over slowly. Dai hugged the baby tightly in her arms. If only you hadn't gotten married. I wouldn't have realized that I've always loved you. She blinked pitifully. I can have children too. Marry me. I only marry the woman I love. Child Shen frowned. He wanted to find a chance to pounce on her. Dai stared at him. You love that woman? How can you love that woman? She had always thought that Child Shen wouldn't love anyone, so she had never thought about it for so many years. She had never lacked men around her. She had always regarded Child Shen as a role model and learned from his lifestyle. She was very open-minded about relationships. She wanted to have fun in bed. Her comfort was better than anything else. But now this man said that he had fallen in love with someone else. Dai couldn't believe it. Then why had she been living a dissolute life for so many years? Dai, for your brother's sake, I'll let you go if you return my son to me. Child Shen looked at her seriously. Otherwise, your brother can't protect you. Seeing the man looking at her with disgust, Dai shook her head and hugged the baby again. Let go. You're hugging him too tightly. Child Shen looked at his son worriedly, who was still crying with his eyes closed. It was good that he could cry. He was probably just hungry. Dai raised the baby over her head and said, in that case, don't want your son anymore. Let that woman give birth to another one for you. She wasn't afraid of Child Shen. As long as her brother was around, Child Shen wouldn't dare touch her. You forced me to do this. Child Shen took out his phone and dialed a number. Destroy all the places of the Rogers family on 7th Street. Kill anyone who resists. Dai opened her mouth and said, How dare you? Why wouldn't I dare? Child Shen stared at her coldly. From now on, the Shen family declares war on the Rogers family. Dai was about to break down when she heard what he said. Do you know what that means? Do you want all the underground forces in New York to be in chaos? They won't blame me. Child Shen sneered. It's you, the young lady of the Rogers family, who caused all this. After that, he dialed another number. Dai heard that he sent people to several companies under the family, and they also killed people. She looked at the baby in her arms with trembling hands. Probably tired from crying, the baby kept twitching and moaning occasionally. There was a sudden commotion in the elevator. Rogers strode over with his men. Seeing Dai standing in the corner with the baby in her arms, he slapped her without thinking. Brother, you hit me? Dai was stunned and raised her hand to cover her face in disbelief. Child Shen took the opportunity to take the baby. Old man Shen hurried over and called his baby grandson. Child Shen handed the baby to him. Dad, take him to Mimi. I owe you a favor. I'll take her away. Rogers winked at his men, and two of them came over to grab Dai. Child Shen glanced at him and disagreed. I told you to keep an eye on her. Now that she's in my hands, I should deal with her. Rogers rubbed his forehead. Well, how about this? I know you've been looking for a prescription that can help paralyzed patients stand up. I'll give you the whereabouts of the prescription in exchange for her. You really know? Child Shen asked in surprise. Why would I lie to you about this? Rogers promised. Let's talk about it after I deal with Dai. Child Shen said angrily. Let's go. By the way, Rogers took 2 steps and turned back. Your men are still blocking the entrance of my place. Child Shen waved his hand to show that he knew. He had given the order to kill, but he had already told him that it was just an act for Dai. However, if something really happened to his son, he would let his men do it at any time. He left. Shen Batian had appeared out of nowhere. Child Shen nodded. Go and see the girl and my precious grandson. I'll go back first and ask them to send food. Shen Batian hummed a tune and left. When the man returned to the ward, he saw his little woman holding and feeding the baby. My son must be starving. Zhang Mi looked up, tears still hanging on her face. Child Shen walked over and saw the little guy with his eyes closed and his mouth pouting to suck milk. He He was so small and cute. I remember when Ing Chung was born, he was wrinkled and red like a mouse. Our son is white and clean. How beautiful. He touched his son's face, kissed Zhangmi, and turned to the bathroom to get a towel. Zhangmi moved her face closer, and Child Shin wiped her face gently. You can't cry now. I remember Xiao Qingqing said that crying during confinement will hurt your eyes. Ah. That's right. Zhangmi pulled him behind her. Quick, take a picture of our family and send it to Xianqing. A week later, Zhangmi was discharged from the hospital. Shin Batian prepared 2 nannies to hold the baby, but it was not enough for the whole family. It's my turn, right? He moved closer to Child Shin. You've been holding him for an hour. Zhangmi saw Child Shin trying to run with his son, so she stopped him with a smile. Foul. It's Dad's turn. Haha. My precious grandson. Shin Batian took the soft little guy and thought that he was good. Child Shin ignored him, picked up the tablet, and began to search for information on the internet. You haven't chosen yet? Zhangmi kicked him. It's just a name. Maybe our son will change it when he grows up and thinks it's not good. No, Child Shin said confidently. I'll give our son a name that will shock the world. Chapter 469. Zhangmi was about to tell him not to go through so much trouble when the man added, just like my name. Ha! She suddenly lost hope in the name. Finally, on the day before the child turned 1 month old, Child Shin chose his son's name. Call him Prince Shin. Child Shin said proudly, his nickname will be Prince. Zhangmi's mouth twitched as she looked at Shin Batian. Sure enough, the old man slapped his thigh and said, good. Son. Your mother tried her best. The birthday banquet for the 3rd generation of the Shen family was luxurious and grand. No one thought it was an exaggeration. In other families, there were already several 3rd generations. There were very few people who only had one son like Shen Batian. They thought it was because the men in the Shen family had problems. However, they didn't know that the reason why Child Shin didn't have any siblings was because he was deeply in love with his dead lover. He wouldn't have another woman in his life. At the end of the year, Prince Shin was already 100 days old. The little guy started to respond to the outside world. He would babble and smile at people every day. The baby will definitely look like me. Zhangmi kissed her son. Dad said you didn't like to smile when you were young. Child Shin didn't want to expose her. Anyone could see that the Child Shin child looked exactly like his father. However, Child Shin wasn't very happy. Why are you standing there? Zhangmi poked him. Get your son a diaper. Look, it's like this again. Young Master Shin took the diaper over with a sad look on his face. Then he watched as Zhangmi put the diaper on the boy and picked him up. The mother and daughter were kissing and kissing, completely ignoring his existence. At first, Child Shin was quite interested in his son. However, he gradually realized that Zhangmi was spending all her time on this boy. Wife, I'm going to take a shower. Child Shin stood up and went into the bathroom. When he came out, he saw Zhangmi sitting under the light feeding the child. The dim light cast on her face. A woman who had just given birth was more charming and sexy. Child Shin swallowed his saliva and sat beside Zhangmi, staring at his son's mouth. What are you looking at? Zhangmi saw that the little guy had eaten and fallen asleep, so she carefully put her son into the crib. She turned her head and saw that Child Shin was still staring at her. She didn't think much of it and joked. What? You want to drink milk too? The next second, she was pressed on the bed by the man. Eunuch Shin looked at her gently, but there were sparks in his eyes. Yeah, I want to eat it too. In the hospital, Zheng Gij stared at the operating room nervously. Lin Mushing sat beside her and comforted her for the umpteenth time. Don't worry. The doctor said that Xiao Zhe is in good health now. He can have the operation. Thank you. Zheng Gij's eyes did not move. She was still staring at the door of the operating room. His men bought lunch. Lin Mushing put it in front of Zheng Gij. There are 2 hours before the operation. If you don't eat, how can you take care of him when he comes out? Zheng Gij hesitated and took it. She thought it was an ordinary takeout. She didn't expect that it was a delicious soup. Even a few dishes were delicate and light. It was completely according to her appetite. You eat it too. She looked at Lin Musheng. When the man smiled at her, she quickly lowered her head. Lin Musheng shook his head helplessly. It seemed that there was still a long way to go before Zheng Gij agreed to marry him. Zheng Zai's operation was very successful. Although his body was not as good as normal people, it would be no problem for him to exercise in the future. Great, great! Zheng Gij cried with joy. When you get better, you can go to school. Sister, don't cry. Zheng Zai wiped her tears and looked at Lin Musheng next to her. It's my turn to take care of you in the future. Lin Musheng's face darkened. I'll arrange for you to go to school abroad. I'll take care of your sister. I don't want to go abroad. I'll go to a domestic school. Zheng Zai stared at Lin Musheng. Obviously, he didn't want to compromise. Zheng Gij quickly said, You can't leave the hospital for at least half a month. Let's talk about it later. In the evening, Lin Musheng drove Zheng Gij home. She didn't want to live in Lin's house. Lin Musheng had to find a community with a good environment near the hospital for her to live temporarily. Look at this. Zheng Gij looked at him with a vigilant face. Lin Musheng stared at her. Look, your slave contract. Zheng Gij was relieved after hearing what he said. She took it and opened it. It was a brief introduction of a school. This school is very famous. Zheng Gij glanced at it and said, It's the top palace in the fashion industry. Do you know what your brother likes? Lin Musheng asked her. Zheng Gij frowned. She thought that Zheng Zai always read books silently, flipped through magazines, and occasionally sketched with a pen. He likes to draw. Zheng Gij was not sure. No. Lin Musheng smiled. He likes design, fashion design. Zheng Gij looked at him in surprise. How do you know? It doesn't matter. What matters is whether you want him to study here or not. Lin Musheng said. I've arranged it. He can go there at any time. This was a good opportunity. Zheng Gij's heart moved. If Zheng Zai really liked it, she would support him. Come with me to a place before you go home. Lin Musheng turned the car around. Zheng Gij began to be nervous again. Seeing her like this, the man sighed. Don't worry. I promised you that I would never touch you again, unless you want to. And I hope that the next time we have sex, you'll be Mrs. Lin. Zheng Gij was used to Lin Musheng's straightforwardness. She turned her head to look out of the window and pretended not to hear it. Lin Musheng didn't force her, and immediately changed the topic. Ask Zheng Zai later. If he wants to, it's better to go there after he leaves the hospital. It'll be just in time for school to start. Zheng Gij said yes, and then neither of them spoke. When the car drove to the back of the commercial street, Zheng Gij saw a shop on the roadside being renovated. Lin Musheng parked the car and opened the door to help her get out. It's not like the capital here. It's hard to find such a good house. This street is quiet and noisy. Do you like it? What do you mean? Zheng Gij looked at the familiar color in the shop and felt that she seemed to have guessed something. Oh, your shop. Lin Musheng walked up the stairs. Come on. Let's see if you like it. Zheng Gij's private kitchen in the capital was still open. She asked her former colleagues to take care of it. Looking at the sign of Gij's small kitchen at the door, it was a lie to say that she was not moved. You once said that your biggest dream was to cook what you liked for people to eat. Since I want you to stay with me, how can I let you suffer? Lin Musheng looked at her with a smile. I hope Zheng Zai can go abroad to study at ease. I'll take good care of you. Zheng Gij, who suddenly understood something, looked at Lin Musheng speechlessly. It turned out that he wanted Zheng Zai to go abroad so that he could be alone with her. If little Zai doesn't want to go abroad, I won't force him. Zheng Gij really didn't know what to say, so she had to use this reason. Lin Musheng smiled. I believe you will let him go. When Zheng Zai could sit up, Zheng Gij gave him the college notice. She saw the surprise in her brother's eyes very clearly. But Zheng Zai immediately changed his expression and said seriously, Sister, I can go to school in the country. Go. Zheng Gij touched his head. This is a good opportunity to change your life. Zheng Zai bit his lips. I won't go. Zheng Gij sat down beside the bed. Are you worried about me? Sister. You know it. Zheng Zai was unhappy. That guy is not kind to you. But he saved you. Zheng Gij sighed. You don't have to worry about me and Lin Musheng. I'll marry him and divorce him when he loses interest. Zhang Zhe was anxious and began to cough. Zhang Gij was scared and quickly poured him a glass of water. Sister, I can't let him ruin you. Zhang Zhe grabbed her hand. When you get better, we'll go back home. I want to stay. Zhang Gij looked at him. Zhang Zhe's lips moved. After a long time he said, You really like him? Yes. Zhang Gij didn't deny it. Her life had always been gray. Lin Mushing was like a ray of light, coming to her with decisiveness and feelings. Everything was different. Zhang Gij couldn't change her feelings. Otherwise, she wouldn't have slept with that man for the first time. Aren't you afraid that he will change his mind? Zhang Zhe didn't want her to be hurt. Zhang Gij smiled. Marriage is a gamble. There are risks in marrying anyone. I'll wait until you get married. Zhang Zhe was unwilling. I haven't promised him yet. Zhang Zhe's eyes lit up. Then let's delay for 3 or 5 years. A month later, Zhang Zhe went abroad. In order to take care of his health, Lin Mushing had already arranged a residence there and found a reliable nanny to take care of him. After that, Zhang Gij went back to Lianjing to deal with the work. When she came back at the end of October, Gij's kitchen opened. Boss Lin, this doesn't seem like your style. A chubby, fierce-looking man walked in with a group of underlings. Lin Mushing stretched out his hand to greet him. Brother Hai, you like to go to the dazzling place to eat. The man called Brother Hai laughed twice. Don't pretend. Our brothers said that you always have a woman around you recently. Tell me the truth. What do you mean? Gij. Lin Mushing waved his hand and Zhang Gij came out of the kitchen. Lin Mushing stretched out his hand to her waist and felt that she was stiff, but she didn't avoid him. He felt relieved. Come, this is my wife. He smiled at Zhang Gij. This is my friend. You can call him Brother Hai. Zhang Gij nodded. Brother Hai. Qing Hai opened his mouth and nodded with surprise. Sister-in-law, hello. You see, I haven't prepared anything. He's talking nonsense. We haven't married yet. Zhang Gij said lightly. Lin Mushing interrupted. It's going to be over soon. When Zhang Gij went back to the kitchen, Qing Hai came to Lin Mushing and said, You haven't won her yet? Anyway, she can't run away. You can prepare the red packet. Lin Mushing sat in the corner and just saw Zhang Gij in the kitchen. Except for Qing Hai, who had a good relationship with him, he didn't need to greet others. Qing Hai gave him a middle finger. Tut, but I didn't expect that you liked this kind of woman who looks cold and cheerless, like a little dragon girl. I thought you liked beautiful women like Xiaolan. Xiaolan was a famous model on this island, and had been with Lin Mushing for a while. For Lin Mushing, she was just a bed partner, which meant nothing. Looking at his expression, Qing Hai knew that he didn't take it seriously. He reminded him. Xiaolan is dead set on you and has been waiting for you to come back. Is she crazy? Lin Mushing sneered. She's just a plaything. While they were talking, a tall beauty in a sexy short skirt came in the door. She was very beautiful without heavy makeup. The reporters who had been afraid to come forward rushed to her. Hello, Xiaolan. Did someone ask you to come? I heard that you know Boss Lin and your relationship is not ordinary. Xiaolan showed a charming smile. We are friends. I have to come and support his restaurant when it opens. Qing Hai's men protected her and left the reporters. Xiaolan went to Lin Mushing's side. Even the blind could see the affection in her eyes. Boss Lin, you haven't seen me for a long time. I don't know you well. Why should I see you? Lin Mushing said absent-mindedly, staring at the kitchen. Xiaolan's face changed. She continued to smile and wanted to say something, but she saw Lin Mushing's eyes suddenly lit up. She turned her head and saw a woman coming here. Xiaolan was anxious. She ignored Lin Mushing's usual taboo and directly threw herself into his arms. Go away. Lin Mushing pushed her away fiercely. When he was about to raise his foot to kick her, Zhang Gij stopped him. She has been injured. Xiaolan was wearing high heels. When she fell, she sprained her ankle and her ankle was swollen. Lin Mushing held Zhang Gij and found that her expression was normal. Then he was relieved. When he turned to look at Xiaolan, his eyes were full of violence. Do you want to die? Or don't you want to stay in this circle? Xiaolan was in so much pain that she almost cried. She did not expect Lin Muxing's reaction to be so big. She said in fear, "Boss Lin, shut up." Lin Muxing clenched his fist. If it were not for fear of scaring Zheng Gij, he would kill this woman now. Qing Hai laughed and tried to smooth things over. "Come on, it's all a misunderstanding. Sister-in-law, this is my girl. She can't stand still." After that he winked at his men, and the two men immediately helped Xiaolan up. "Well, I'll take her away first. I'll taste your cooking another day." After the opening of Gij's little kitchen, the business was good. At first, people came because of Lin Muxing. Later, they found that it was really delicious, so more and more people came. Because Zheng Gij had the support of the business in Jing City, she did not need to work hard for money. She found that people in Hong Kong liked delicate and rare things, so she changed the business model of the restaurant to the way of making an appointment in advance. And the menu was made by herself. It changed according to the season, so that the guests could always eat the freshest things. "Did you plan to do this from the beginning?" Zheng Gij asked Lin Muxing when they were dating that night. Lin Muxing was in a good mood. For half a month, he had been worried that Zheng Gij would be angry because of Xiaolan. But she did not mention it, nor did she agree to go on a date with him. It was not easy to ask her out today. Lin Muxing did not want to make her angry again. "What are you going to do?" He thought about the conspiracy in his heart and decided to play dumb. Zheng Gij glanced at him. "Didn't you decorate the restaurant like that on purpose to have fewer guests?" Lin Muxing spent a lot of money on decoration. Even a plate was a work of art. But there were only 5 private rooms with different styles. That was to say, only 5 tables could eat at the same time. "I didn't want you to be too tired." Lin Muxing opened the door and went to the other side to pick her up. "You did it to realize your dream, not to be a cook and stay in the kitchen every day." Zheng Gij did not want to discuss this topic with him anymore. Anyway, it seemed to be good now. She glanced around and wondered, "The dock? Well, you have been cooking for others for half a month. Let them cook for you today." A speedboat came over, and Lin Muxing helped her get on the boat. Zheng Gij looked at the big ship in the middle of the sea. It looked like the ship used by the ancient emperors. It had 3 floors, red bottom and green pillars, and was full of glazed palace lanterns. What a beautiful antique ship! The speedboat had approached the antique ship, and several waiters were bowing to them. Zheng Gij helped Lin Muxing get on the boat. "Is it a restaurant?" "It's very famous." Lin Muxing took her along the side of the ship. Zheng Gij vaguely saw the purple gauze on the window edge, and the delivery man in a tang suit shuttling back and forth. A man who looked like a manager greeted them. "Mr. Lin, this way please." Obviously, Lin Muxing had already booked a seat. Zheng Gij followed him, and sat in the private room on the top floor. Outside the window was the world-famous night view of the harbor. Several pillows were placed on the wide bed. Zheng Gij leaned on the bed, and found that it was made of silk. Even the wooden table on the bed faintly exuded the fragrance of wood. It was definitely not ordinary wood. "Everything here is the best." Lin Muxing knocked on the table. "Gold Phoebe." Then he picked up a pillow and put it behind her. "Brocade, all handmade. You know it so well. You didn't open it, did you?" Zheng Gij looked at him suspiciously. "Only people like you can come up with the idea of eating in bed." Lin Muxing smiled. "I just have shares." Sure enough, seeing her expression, Lin Muxing reached out to touch her face. He hesitated when he raised his hand. However, he was surprised to find that Zheng Gij did not avoid him, so he boldly touched her face. "I'm hungry. Hurry up and order." Zheng Gij turned her face and said awkwardly after he finished touching her face. Lin Muxing pulled the golden bell next to him contentedly. Several waiters in tang suits came in with plates, and soon the table was full. "Everything here is made according to the ancient recipe," Lin Muxing introduced to her. "In a vulgar way, it's the Manchu Han Imperial Banquet." Zheng Gij had always been curious about food. She carefully studied each dish until the man next to her said with dissatisfaction, "Don't look at it. I asked you to eat." "Sorry, I'm used to it." Zheng Gij smiled and found that he did not sit opposite her like ordinary people who came to the restaurant. Instead, he sat next to her. She couldn't help but ask, Why are you sitting so close to me? Lin Mushing helped her deal with a duck's foot and put it in the bowl. He said angrily, "Can't I take advantage of you?" Jung-gij did not say anything. She ate whatever he put in her bowl. Occasionally she felt embarrassed and put some food in Lin Mushing's bowl. Soon she found that the reason why Lin Mushing sat next to her was that he could take better care of her. After the meal, she barely moved her hands and just opened her mouth. "I'm full. Hurry up and eat." She took the initiative to give Lin Mushing a bowl of soup. Lin Mushing finished the soup with a smile and said while eating, "Gij, let's just be like this, okay? When you understand me in your heart, marry me, okay? Hurry up and eat." Jung-gij felt as if her face was burning. She put on her shoes and was about to go to the ground. "Where are you going?" Lin Mushing thought she was angry. Jung-gij calmed down and said, "I'm going to the bathroom." "I'll go with you." "No." Jung-gij stopped him. "You eat first. I'll be right back." Lin Mushing saw her insistence and asked the waiter at the door to take her there. However, she did not come back. "Aren't you afraid of me?" Holding a hookah in his hand, old Master Lin stared at the woman sitting on the sofa with round eyes. Jung-gij rubbed her forehead. Lin Mushing should have found that she was missing. When she came out of the bathroom, she felt a pain in the back of her head. When she woke up, she found an old man sitting opposite her and staring at her unkindly. At a glance, she knew that he was Lin Mushing's father. Not only did they look alike, but Jung-gij also recognized the row of bodyguards behind him. "Old Master Lin, what do you want to do with me?" Hearing that Jung-gij was not afraid and even questioned him, Lin Jun disliked her even more. He snorted and said, "Miss Jung, I know your background. I won't agree to let you marry Mushing." Okay. Lin Jun was depressed. What did that mean? "Don't you have anything to say?" He could not help but ask. Jung-gij shook her head and said, "No." "Then are you willing to leave Mushing?" "Okay." Lin Jun was irritated by her attitude. Was it true that his men said his son was begging this woman? At first, he did not care when he heard that his son went inland every day for a woman. It was not like he had never played with women. However, he did not expect Lin Mushing to bring her back. He also heard that the woman did not agree to his son's proposal. However, in Lin Jun's eyes, she was definitely playing hard to get. Who didn't want to marry into the Lin family? All the women in Hong Kong wanted to marry into the Lin family. "Old Master Lin, then can I go now?" Jung-gij looked at him with a faint smile. The smile was definitely not fake. Lin Jun was an old fox. He knew that this girl really did not want to marry his son. "What's wrong with my son?" he suddenly asked. Jung-gij did not understand. "What?" Chapter 470. Why don't you like my son? Lin Jun looked at her with a dissatisfied expression. "Your looks are alright, but your personality is cold and you don't have any background. You can't be picky about the conditions of the Lin family." Hearing Lin Jun praising the Lin family and Lin Mushing, Jung-gij didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "What do you mean? Haven't I promised to leave Lin Mushing and not marry into the Lin family? Who said you would leave me?" A roar came. Lin Mushing was standing at the door and looking at her with a dark face. To be exact, he was looking at his father. Lin Jun laughed and shrank into the sofa. "You are back. My wife would be gone if I didn't come back." Lin Mushing strode over and held Jung-gij in his arms. "Dad, are you too idle recently?" If the person in front of him was not his father, he would have killed Lin Jun. When he learned that Jung-gij was taken away, his heart almost stopped beating. Fortunately, he found from the monitor that it was his bodyguard who did it. He felt relieved and began to complain about his father. "How dare you secretly kidnap her? Do you want to scare me to death?" Lin Mushing held Jung-gij, who was struggling in his arms, and stared at Lin Jun without blinking. Lin Jun said guiltily, "I didn't hurt her. I just want to see her." "See what?" Lin Mushing shouted back. "How can you see her like this? Let her leave me? You hurt me." Jung-gij suddenly interrupted the father and son. Lin Mushing looked down and found that Jung-gij's wrist was red because of him. He was so scared that he quickly let go and rubbed it carefully. "I'm sorry, Gij. I didn't mean it." It's okay. Zhengjie shook her head. Don't quarrel. She glanced at Lin Mushing. It's late. Yes. Lin Jin quickly stood up. Let's stay here today and talk about it tomorrow. Tomorrow. After that, he stood up and went upstairs. Lin Mushing felt funny and withdrew his gaze. Seeing that Zhengjie was still indifferent, he was a little angry about what she had just said. You want to leave me? Zhengjie lowered her head. Your father thinks we are not suitable. It's fine as long as I think it's suitable. Lin Mushing's voice was a little cold. I've done so much for you. And you want to leave me because of what others say? It's not someone else. It's your father. Zhengjie sighed and looked at him with clear eyes. Mushing, you know me. He didn't have any goals. Life was good as long as he could get by. If my presence makes your family uncomfortable, then I can only leave. Lin Mushing felt a little better after hearing that. He also knew that Zhengjie's character was caused by the environment she grew up in, which made her not dare to pursue anything at all. She just lived carefully. That made Lin Mushing even more distressed. Gugu, listen to me. He carefully pulled her into his embrace and felt her tremble, but she did not push him away. His mood instantly improved, and his tone also became relaxed. My old man is an old urchin. He doesn't mean any harm. He's just trying to scare you. Lin Mushing took her hand. Give yourself a chance and give me a chance, okay? Zhengjie wanted to say something, but Lin Mushing continued. As long as you agree, leave the rest to me. The next day, Lin Jun talked to the two people early in the morning. Since you've decided, then I can't stop you, but I still don't agree. He glanced at Zhengjie. Well, let's give everyone a chance to get to know each other. From today on, you can move back to live here. Lin Mushing sneered. What do you want to do? What do you want to do? Lin Jun glared at him. If you marry her now, I won't admit it. Zhengjie pulled Lin Mushing and shook her head at him. Let's move back. Gij. Lin Mushing looked at her carefully. It doesn't matter. I want to get blessings, Zhengjie suddenly said. Especially from your father. Lin Mushing's eyes lit up, and he looked at her in surprise. Good. Don't worry. I won't let my old man bully you. Zhengjie thought it through. If she left now, Lin Mushing would not let her go. Then she would fight for once. She also wanted happiness and someone to rely on for the rest of her life. Looking at the man beside her who was negotiating with old Master Lin for her, Zhengjie's heart was a little hot. At least, now she could rely on him. So from that day on, Lin Mushing sent Zhengjie to the restaurant every morning, and then went to deal with the gang's affairs. At noon, he went to have lunch with Zhengjie, and then took her to the lounge for a nap. At night, they went back to the old house of the Lin family together. Well, you're not here every day. How can I understand you? Old Master Lin was unhappy within 2 days. He went out early and came back late every day. He had no chance at all. Lin Mushing chuckled. How about you cook for Gij? How about this? I'll come back every afternoon and leave it to my assistant in the evening. I'll prepare the complicated ingredients in advance. Zhengjie proposed a compromise. That's a deal. Old Master Lin made the decision. The next day, when Lin Mushing went to pick Zhengjie up, he was very unwilling. He was afraid that Zhengjie, who had finally opened her heart, would be scared away by his father again. You don't have to be so nervous. When Zhengjie got out of the car, she finally couldn't stand his serious expression and said helplessly, That's your father. Lin Mushing pulled her seriously. Just because he's my father. If he were someone else, he would have been thrown into the sea to feed the fish. Zhengjie suddenly wanted to laugh, so she did. You laughed? The man hugged her with surprise. Let me go. Zhengjie twisted twice in his arms. Lin Mushing didn't let her go. He only heard a low voice. Gij, you should laugh more. Just like just now. This was the first time that Lin Mushing saw Zhengjie's eyes smiling. It was not that she didn't laugh before, but she didn't laugh at him. I don't like to laugh, Zhengjie said in a muffled voice. She knew that her expression was probably always cold and indifferent, which was not likable. I'll let you laugh in the future. Lin Mushing squeezed her hand. Don't let yourself be wronged. Do you hear me? Even he couldn't bear to be wronged. How could she be wronged by others, even if that person was her father? Zhang Gij didn't let Lin Mushing send her in for fear that he would fight with Lin Jun. After sending Lin Mushing away, she entered the old house and saw Lin Jun sitting on the sofa with a chessboard in front of him. Do you know how to play chess? A little. Lin Jun waved his hand discontentedly. Come here. Zhang Gij glanced at him. Wait for me to change my clothes. After that, she went upstairs directly regardless of the old man's glaring eyes. As Lin Mushing said, she didn't want to be wronged. Lin Jun didn't like her. She couldn't do anything. Why should she make herself uncomfortable? When Zhang Gij changed her clothes and came downstairs, she was surprised to find a woman sitting in the living room. This is Zhang Gij. Lin Jun pointed at her casually and said to the woman with a smile, Hui Hui, help Mushing take a look. He chose her himself. The woman was wearing a pale yellow dress. She looked at Zhang Gij with a faint smile on her delicate face. Hello, I'm Zhang Hui. Hello. Zhang Gij said lightly and then sat down on another sofa. Lin Jun was very dissatisfied with her attitude. He said with a straight face, Hui Hui is my friend's daughter. She and Mushing grew up together. You have to treat her well. Oh. Zhang Gij nodded and pushed the cold tea to him. Have some tea. Zhang Hui's eyes flashed with contempt. She pouted and said, Uncle Lin, why don't you say there is an outsider at home? You have someone to accompany you. Why did you ask Hui Hui to come? After that she glanced at Zhang Gij. Oh, it's not the same. Lin Jun laughed. Your Uncle Lin misses you. Come on, let's play chess. The old man and the young girl completely ignored Zhang Gij. After a while, Zhang Hui saw Zhang Gij's indifference and felt a little uncomfortable. She smiled at Lin Jun. Uncle Lin, I'm hungry. Is there anything to eat? I'll ask someone to bring you snacks. Lin Jun pushed the chessboard away immediately. Zhang Hui's level was too low. He didn't want to play anymore. I'm on a diet. Zhang Hui shook her head. I don't want to eat sweet things. Lin Jun said, that's easy. I'll ask the aunt to cook a bowl of noodles for you. Isn't Miss Zhang a chef? Zhang Hui pointed at Zhang Gij. I heard that Brother Mushing opened a restaurant for you. You should know how to cook noodles, right? After that, Lin Jun's face darkened. He did ask Zhang Hui to come here to annoy Zhang Gij, but that was his own business. But Zhang Hui asked Zhang Gij to cook noodles, which made him feel like he was slapping himself in the face. Anyway, Zhang Gij was the one Lin Mushing liked now. He could do whatever he wanted. But he was unhappy when others did that. You want to eat noodles? Zhang Gij raised her eyelids. She had just been thinking about the dishes next week. Zhang Hui raised her head, and didn't find the dissatisfaction in Lin Jun's eyes. She said proudly, Yes, you cook for me. Call it yourself. Zhang Gij threw out a book under the tea table. The restaurants nearby can deliver it. You. Zhang Hui looked at her with her eyes wide open. I asked you to cook for me. Don't you understand? Zhang Gij still looked indifferent. Why should I cook for you? You. Zhang Hui was speechless with anger. Zhang Gij stood up and said to Lin Jun, Since someone is playing chess with Mr. Lin, I'll go upstairs. Then she turned and left without waiting for Lin Jun to speak. Uncle Lin. Zhang Hui said angrily. Look at this woman. She's so rude. You ask our family to cook for you. You're not any better. Lin Jun slandered in his heart, completely forgetting that it was he who asked her to come here. Ahem. Lin Jun squeezed out a smile. I'll ask the aunt to cook for you. Zhang Gij closed her eyes and leaned on the bed. When she was about to fall asleep, there was a knock on the door. She rubbed her eyes and opened the door, seeing Zhang Hui standing at the door. I have something to tell you. Zhang Hui pushed the door and came in unceremoniously. Seeing the big bed in the room, she gnashed her teeth with jealousy. You're just a third-rate star. How can you marry Brother Mushing? I advise you to leave as soon as possible. It seems that you've investigated me. Zhang Gij walked to the side and sat down. Zhang Hui was about to laugh when she heard her say again. How can you not know that it's Lin Mushing who chased me? Zhang Gij looked at her. If pestering and sending yourself to the door are useful, why didn't you become Mrs. Lin after all these years? You bitch. Zhang Hui was angry and reached out to slap her. Zhang Gij grabbed her hand. Miss Zhang, instead of making trouble for me, why don't you think about how to make Lin Mushing like you? She pushed Zhang Hui away. As a result, she didn't know whether she did it on purpose or she really lost her balance. Her hand suddenly hit the corner of the table. Ah! Zhang Hui screamed in pain and cried while covering her red and swollen wrist. I just wanted to scare you. How could you really hit me? Then she stood up and ran out. Zhang Gij really wanted to roll her eyes. The palace drama she had acted in was just like this. These rich ladies really had nothing better to do. When she was thinking about whether to go down, her phone rang. She looked at the number and picked it up. Gij, what are you doing? Zhang Gij didn't realize that her voice was like a spoiled child. I just hurt your childhood, sweetheart. Ha ha ha. Lin Mushing heard her dissatisfaction and felt happy. It's okay. I'll bury him if he dies. Wait, I'm on my way. When Lin Mushing came back, he saw Zhang Hui crying to Lin Zhen. Uncle Lin, I just went up to talk to her. Who knew that she suddenly scolded me and told me not to pester brother Mushing. She said that she would marry into the Lin family sooner or later, and everything in the Lin family would be hers. Lin Zhen's face darkened. When he was about to ask Zhang Gij to come down, he saw Lin Mushing come in. You came back just in time. Look, your woman hurt Hui's hand. Go and ask her to come down and apologize. Zhang Hui saw Lin Mushing crying even more miserably. She wanted to throw herself at him like a little bird. However, Lin Mushing didn't look at her and went upstairs directly. He just turned his head and said to Lin Jin, the older you are, the more foolish you are. Who are you calling foolish? Lin Jin banged his walking stick on the floor. Of course, he knew that Zhang Hui was pretending, but he just wanted to see Zhang Gij's reaction. He was happy to annoy her. Lin Mushing didn't find Zhang Gij upstairs. His first reaction was to open the wardrobe. He was relieved when he found her clothes were all there. Then he thought about it and ran to the back stairs. The kitchen of the Lin family was there. As soon as he entered, he saw a woman in a pink apron cutting vegetables with her head down. There was something stewing on the stove next to her, and wisps of steam came out. The light shone on the woman's face, gilding her white skin with a layer of luster. Lin Mushing was in a trance for a moment. It seemed that this picture had appeared in his dream more than once. He calmed down and slowly walked into the seemingly still picture step by step until Zhang Gij found him. You're back? Yes. Zhang Gij didn't find the tenderness in his eyes. She put the vegetables into the pot and asked, how about beef? Okay. Lin Mushing reached out and hugged her from behind. Gij, what's wrong? Let's get married. Lin Mushing's wish didn't come true. Zhang Gij just gently put a piece of pork rib into his mouth, then patted his head and asked him to set the plate. Zhang Hui hadn't left yet. Lin Zhen called the family doctor to treat her. It looked serious, but in fact, it was just a sprain. Time to eat. Lin Mushing went to the living room with a straight face. Lin Zhen muttered with a smug face, if it's not good, I'll order takeout. Zhang Hui quickly said, if it's not good, I'll go out with Uncle Lin. Lin Mushing was about to say whether he wanted to eat or not, but Zhang Gij, who came out with the soup, pulled his sleeve and stopped him. Dad, forget it. Who is that woman? Why should she eat the food you cook? Lin Mushing was indignant. His men standing at the door also showed dissatisfaction. They hadn't eaten the food cooked by Zhang Gij. They were dying to see it every day. Zhang Gij found that the man was more and more like a child recently. He was quite cute. She's a guest. Anyway, it's not bad. Lin Mushing was not angry after hearing that. He was afraid that it would affect Zhang Gij's mood. At the same time, he hoped that Lin Zhen would like Zhang Gij after eating the food cooked by her. The four people sat at the table, and Lin Zhen sat at the head. Zhang Hui sat alone on his right side, and Lin Mushing and Zhang Gij sat opposite. Why do you cook such greasy food? Zhang Hui pointed to a plate of steamed pork and began to preach. Old people have high blood lipids. They can't eat fat meat. Don't you know that? Lin Mushing glanced at her coldly and picked up a piece for Lin Zhen. The steamed pork was 70% fat and 30% lean. It was placed on the white porcelain plate and looked appetizing. Zhang Hui hurriedly said, Brother Mushing, why do you? Shut up. If you don't want to eat, get out. Lin Mushing put down the chopsticks and stared at Zhang Hui with a sullen face. Lin Zhen saw his son was angry and swallowed the words he wanted to say to Zhang Gij. Well, he didn't want to eat. Mr. Lin. Zhang Gij said. You can eat this. Try it. Lin Mushing looked at his son suspiciously. He saw that the boy had begun to eat and didn't pay attention to him at all. He curled his lips and carefully took a bite of the fat meat. In fact, he was very willing to eat meat. Unfortunately, the doctor told him not to eat more. Delicious. Lin Zhen's eyes widened after he took a bite. He quickly ate up a piece. When he wanted to pick up more, Zhang Hui couldn't help but say again, Uncle Lin, you can't eat it. Then she glared at Zhang Gij. Miss Zheng, what on earth are you thinking? Lin Zhen's face changed when he heard this. What was she thinking? Was she thinking of marrying into the Lin family after she died? Thinking of this, he lost his appetite. He dropped the chopsticks and was about to leave. However, when he saw his son was still eating the pork ribs, he was so angry that he wanted to kill him with his crutch. Mr. Lin. I don't want to talk to you. Zhang Gij just opened her mouth and was stopped by Lin Zhen. Lin Mushing threw the bowl down and said, Dad, that's enough. Gij spent a lot of time and energy to make these things. Don't waste her good intention even if you don't eat it. Brother Mushing. Zhang Hui rushed to say, How can you say that? These things are not good for Uncle Lin's health. The implication was that he didn't even care about his father's health in order to please a woman. Seeing that the father and son were about to quarrel again, Zhang Gij suddenly said, This is not meat. What did you say? Lin Zhen stared at her. Lin Mushing smiled sarcastically and said, Gij is good at making vegetarian and meat dishes. This pork rib is stewed with tofu and chicken soup for a day. Seeing that Lin Zhen still couldn't believe it, Lin Mushing said angrily, Gij stewed it early in the morning before she went out. She specially made it for you. You don't know what's good for you. Mr. Lin. Zhang Gij showed a faint smile and said, Don't worry. Except for the pork ribs, everything else on the table is vegetarian. Zhang Hui quickly picked up a beef fillet and ate a few mouthfuls, murmuring, How can it be? It's obviously meat. Gij, eat it quickly. Lin Mushing pulled her to sit down and said, It will be cold soon. Lin Zhen stopped shouting and looked embarrassed. He picked up the bowl and began to eat. He even picked up the meat dishes to eat. He was so happy. In the future, he could eat meat as much as he wanted. Anyway, it was not real. After dinner, Zhang Hui and Lin Zhen said goodbye and left in a panic. Originally, Lin Zhen came to attack Zhang Gij, but he knew that Zhang Hui was completely inferior to Zhang Gij. She couldn't even touch a finger of Zhang Gij. The food is good. Keep it up. When leaving the table, Lin Zhen said to Zhang Gij with conviction. Lin Mushing snorted and took Zhang Gij to the garden. The two of them strolled in the garden, talking intermittently. Lin Mushing was more and more satisfied with this life. He didn't know how he had lived through the days of debauchery. Now he was with a person, looking at her quietly. Time seemed to stop at this moment. It turned out that with you, safety and security, it was true. In the future, I will do everything for Mr. Lin. Zhang Gij asked the doctor today and knew that Lin Zhen had high blood lipids and some heart problems. She would make some food to improve the old man's health. Lin Mushing took her hand and snorted. Don't worry about him. He is an ungrateful old man. Zhang Gij pursed her lips and didn't say anything. She knew that he was proud. Back in the room, Lin Mushing stood at the door and looked at the big bed inside. Then he stared at Zhang Gij. Don't you have a bed in your room? It's not as comfortable as yours. After saying that, Lin Mushing sighed secretly. When he was about to leave, he heard Zhang Gij say, Then sleep here. He suddenly raised his head and said in surprise, Gij? Zhang Gij turned and went into the bathroom. If you don't want to, close the door and leave. Then she heard Lin Mushing shout, Yes, yes. When she came out of the shower, she saw Lin Mushing hanging clothes in the wardrobe with wet hair. In order to save time, I went to the next room to take a shower. Then now you. Lin Mushing closed the wardrobe. It's more convenient. I don't have to change tomorrow morning. Zhang Gij got into the quilt and said, Go to sleep. Chapter 471. Someone turned off the light, leaving only a bright yellow night light on the bed. After a while, a woman's voice was heard. What are your hands doing? Well, I want to see if you've lost weight recently. After a while. Good girl, take off your clothes. Early in the morning, Lin Mushing was flushed with success. When they arrived at the restaurant, Zheng Gij was stopped by him and kissed for a long time. I'll come over at noon. Do you want to go shopping? I'll go with you. Zheng Gij pulled her collar to cover the kiss marks on her neck. How can I go shopping like this? It's okay. It proves that we love each other. The man said shamelessly. Let's talk about it in the afternoon. Go quickly. Zheng Gij turned and ran in. When she reached the door, she turned her head and shouted, Drive slowly. Lin Mushing. Yes, wife. The subordinates knew that their boss was in a good mood. When Lin Mushing ordered them to arrange the wedding banquet, they knew that he was finally going to get married. Lin Mushing thought that since Gij had agreed to sleep with him, she would not reject him. Then they could get married. As for the old man, Lin Mushing didn't think about it at all. He believed that as long as Zheng Gij cooked a few more meals, the old man would surrender. At this time, Lin Jun was really confused. Why did he eat yesterday? How could he have the nerve to embarrass Zheng Gij today when he had eaten her food? When he was thinking about it, he heard that the daughter of the Xia family was here. Only then did Lin Jun remember that he had made an appointment yesterday. Today, another family's young lady would come. Uncle Lin. Xia Yu, who was dressed sexily, walked in high heels. Behind her was a beautiful woman. It was the first time that Xiaolon came to the Lin family. She couldn't get in at all. Yesterday, she happened to meet Xia Yu in the beauty salon. After chatting for a while, she successfully coaxed Xia Yu to take her with her today. She didn't know why she came, but she just wanted to see Lin Mushing. Xiao Yu. Lin Jun had to greet her. Sit down. How is your father recently? Xia Yu was the daughter of Lin Jun's former confidant. Now she had her own company and was doing well. He's fine. He knew that I was here to visit you and insisted on coming along. Later on, he was held up by a meeting and asked me to pass a message to you. Let's have tea together another day, Xia Yu said with a grin, then pointed at Xiaolon. This is my friend. We just happened to bump into each other, so we came over together. You won't be unwelcoming, right? Lin Jun laughed. Of course you're welcome. I'm more than happy that you're willing to chat with this old man. Hello, Uncle Lin. I'm Xiaolon. I know you. I saw you on TV. What Lin Jun didn't say was that he knew Xiaolon because she was also a woman his son had played with outside. He couldn't make up his mind. What was this woman doing here? Xia Yu rolled her eyes and took the opportunity to ask, Didn't Brother Mushing find me a sister-in-law? Where is he? I'll be back soon. Lin Jun called for someone to serve tea and snacks. You can take a look at her. I haven't agreed yet. You don't agree? Xia Yu didn't expect that. She had regarded Lin Mushing as her brother since she was a child. Hearing Lin Jun's words, she immediately perked up. Okay, don't worry. I'll check for my brother. Xiaolon suddenly smiled at Lin Jun. I heard that she's in the same industry as me. Model? Xia Yu asked her. No, she's acted in 2 movies. Xiaolon tilted her head. She doesn't seem to be very popular. Xia Yu curled her lips and thought to herself. Why is he still looking for a star? Can she be reliable? When Lin Mushing and Zheng Gij came back, they saw Xiaolon and Xia Yu chatting with the old man on either side. When he saw Xiaolon, his face darkened. Brother Mushing, Xia Yu called. Seeing him carrying a pile of shopping bags in his hand, she pouted and said, No wonder it's so late. You went shopping with sister-in-law. Originally, he was quite unhappy that this girl had brought someone over, but when he heard her call her sister-in-law, he couldn't help but laugh. Haha, why do you have time to come over? Aren't you busy dating? After that, he glanced at Zheng Gij, which meant, This is my sister. But when Zheng Gij's eyes glanced at Xiaolon, Lin Mushing's face fell. In the face of a woman who had slept with her man, any wife would feel disgusted. Lin Mushing thought in his heart and looked at Zheng Gij worriedly. Sure enough, the smile in Zheng Gij's eyes disappeared. Although she was expressionless, Lin Mushing knew that she was unhappy. He didn't know why, but he was still a little happy. At the very least, this could prove that his woman was jealous and jealous. Went shopping? Lin Jun glared at the two of them. What's for dinner? Lin Mushing said angrily. Ask the cook what you want to eat. Why are you asking me? The old man didn't know whether to be angry or not. He couldn't directly say that he wanted to eat Zhenggij's cooking. Ha ha ha. Hello sister-in-law, my name is Xiaoyu. Zhenggij smiled at her. Hello, I'm Zhenggij. Ha ha ha. Xiaoyu squeezed between the two of them. I'll accompany sister-in-law upstairs to change clothes. Brother Mushing stays with Uncle Lin. Right. You know Xiaolon. Lin Mushing frowned. He was not blind. Xiaoyu obviously did it on purpose. Lin Mushing knew the girl who had been with him since childhood. He knew that Xiaoyu really regarded him as her brother. What did she want to do now? Was she laughing at him? No, I'll accompany her upstairs. Lin Mushing pushed Xiaoyu away rudely and gave her a warning look. After the two of them left, Xiaoyu stuck out her tongue at Lin Mushing. It seems that Brother Mushing really likes my sister-in-law. He can't leave her even for one step. Lin Jun coughed twice. What do you think? She's very beautiful. Xiaoyu clicked her tongue. I heard that her restaurant's business is good. Uncle Lin, have you eaten sister-in-law's cooking? Is it delicious? Lin Jun couldn't deny it. He nodded and said, it's delicious. I also heard that it's very good. Xiaolon suddenly said, and then frowned. With Boss Lin's identity, it's not bad to have such a virtuous wife. Do you mean it's not good? Xiaoyu looked at her with a faint smile. Xiaolon immediately looked embarrassed. What I mean is, I always thought that if Boss Lin got married, his family would be well matched. She paused and looked at Xiaoyu. Just like Xiaoyu's family. That's right. Lin Jun nodded. It should be like this. Xiaolon became more proud and said, it's a pity that Xiaoyu treats Boss Lin as her brother. Otherwise, you two would be more suitable. Don't talk nonsense. I don't like Brother Mushing. Xiaoyu waved her hand. She thought, if I liked him, why would I still be with you? Do you think no one can see your thoughts? Thinking of this, she suddenly felt that Zhenggij was too pitiful. When she married Lin Mushing in the future, she might be able to meet the woman who had slept with her husband wherever she went. TSK. She didn't know if Brother Mushing regretted it now. Lin Mushing's intestines were green with regret. He had long despised himself. Why was he so casual about the relationship between men and women? How could he make Zhenggij not dislike him now? He even felt that he was very dirty and that he didn't deserve Gij. I'm sorry. Lin Mushing held the woman tightly and didn't let go. I really didn't know that I would meet you. If I had known, I would never have touched other women. Gij, don't dislike me. I'll only have you in the future, really. Please believe me. Zhenggij was packing up the clothes she bought today. Hearing this, she looked at him with amusement. This is the problem of your values. You don't respect the relationship between men and women from the bottom of your heart. But Lin Mushing wanted to say that the environment he grew up in was so, but he swallowed the words back. The environment of the Ing family was not worse than his, but they all kept their chastity. Seeing him holding her tightly, Zhenggij patted his head. Let bygones be bygones. Lin Mushing was relieved. Then he heard it again. Anyway, time can't go back. No matter how I argue with you, those women won't disappear. Why should I make myself uncomfortable? Was she still arguing with him? When people did something wrong, they would find an excuse for themselves or vent their anger on others. This was their nature. So Lin Mushing thought about it and blamed it on Xiaolon. If it weren't for that damn woman, Zhenggij wouldn't be so entangled. His woman was entangled, and it was him who was entangled. How could he feel good? When he went downstairs and saw Xiaoyu and Lin Jun chatting happily, he instantly hated these two guys. Brother Mushing. Xiaoyu called him. Come here, come here. Lin Mushing turned and walked in another direction. I'm going to the kitchen to help Gij cook. Xiaoyu widened her eyes. Didn't he always say that a gentleman should stay away from the kitchen? That was before. Lin Jun snorted. Now he can't wait to grow up with her. It seems that he really loves his sister-in-law. Xiaoyu glanced at Xiaolon. I say give up. Xiaolon didn't expect her to expose him so directly. He panicked for a moment. I didn't. That's enough. Xiaoyu patted him on the shoulder. You know very well that even without her, Brother Mushing won't marry you. Yes. Even if it wasn't her, it would be someone else. Xiaolon lowered her head blankly. But she was so jealous. If Lin Mushing didn't have Zheng Gij by his side, even if he played with other women, she wouldn't feel anything. Anyway, everyone was the same. But now he fell in love with someone else. Zheng Gij was different from all of them. She was the woman in Lin Mushing's heart. He was going to marry her. We're friends. Let me give you a piece of advice. Xiaoyu whispered when Lin Jin left. Don't do anything stupid, or Brother Mushing will kill you. Xiaolon trembled. She wanted to say something, but Xiaoyu had already skipped away. When Lin Mushing came out to help Zheng Gij with the dishes, he found that Xiaolon was gone. She's gone. Xiaoyu stared at the dishes on the table and wiped her saliva. How did she make so much in such a short time? Zheng Gij helped Lin Jun to a bowl of soup. Many of them were prepared before we left in the morning. There's only one last process left. Xiaoyu ate a piece of duck meat and shouted with joy. It's delicious. It's really delicious. Lin Mushing squinted at her. Shut up and eat. Xiaoyu stuffed food into her mouth and nodded fiercely. Then she winked at Lin Jun. Girl, are you okay? Lin Jun thought she choked and quickly pushed the water over. I'm fine. Xiaoyu swallowed all the food in her mouth and said with tears in her eyes, Uncle Lin, can I move to your house? Lin Jun was stunned, but Lin Mushing had already said, no. Oh, Xiaoyu said with grief and indignation. Sister-in-law's food is so delicious. I want to eat it every day. Then you go to the restaurant every day. I'll give you a 20% discount. Lin Mushing didn't bother to talk to her and picked up food for Zheng Gij. Lin Jun was a little proud, especially when Xiaoyu was looking at him enviously. Uncle Lin, it must be your ancestors' good deeds that my brother Mushing can marry such a sister-in-law. Nonsense. Lin Jun's face was distorted. He held back his laughter and widened his eyes. That's her blessing. She didn't have a mother when she was young and then... Dad. Lin Mushing slammed the table and stood up with a gloomy face. Don't you know what can be said and what can't be said? The atmosphere suddenly became very awkward. Xiaoyu didn't dare to pick up food and shrank her neck to reduce her presence. Lin Jun was also very regretful. He didn't mean anything and was just judging things as they were. No one would feel comfortable listening to such words. But his son's attitude made him angry. What was this? Did he forget his father when he had a wife? Gij, I'll take you home. Lin Mushing pulled Zheng Gij and wanted to leave. This is our home. Zheng Gij smiled at her. Does that mean Mr. Lin has agreed to it? Lin Jun's ugly face froze, and the surprise in his eyes could no longer be concealed. You girl. Sister-in-law is a good person. Xiaoyu liked Zheng Gij more. Zheng Gij pulled Lin Mushing to sit down. Eat quickly, or it will get cold. Oh. Lin Mushing picked up the bowl stupidly and ate a few mouthfuls. Nobody knew what he was smiling about. Lin Jun breathed a sigh of relief. He had mixed feelings and didn't know what to say. When Xiaoyu left in the evening, Zheng Gij took the initiative to come to him with the chessboard. Can I play with you? The old man curled his lips. You are so bad. How can you play with me? Zheng Gij tilted her head. Then can you play with me? Anyway, I have nothing to do. Just reluctantly. Lin Jun said insincerely and added. If I don't play well, I will never play with you again. As a result, Zheng Gij won 2 out of 3 games. No. Lin Jun pushed the chessboard away. You are too dishonest. Didn't you say you didn't know how to play? Zheng Gij smiled and tidied up the chessboard. I mean you didn't play well. But you beat me. That's because you played worse than me. Lin Jun. Lin Mushing didn't know if it was an illusion or not. Since that day, his father's attitude towards Zheng Gij became strange. For example, every morning when Zheng Gij was preparing dinner ingredients in the kitchen, Lin Jun wandered around and then pointed out that he didn't want to eat this and that. But at dinner he ate everything. Another example was that he said he would never play chess with Gij again. But every night after dinner, he put the chessboard out and sat in the living room. As long as Gij went over, he would cough. The old man has already admitted you, but you are still stubborn. That night, he took Zhang Gij for a walk in the garden. Looking at the smiling woman beside him, he felt more and more beautiful and couldn't help kissing her. Zhang Gij didn't avoid it and said to herself, "It seems that I can ask my brother to come back." The next day when they were about to go out, they were stopped by Lin Zhen. "Come here." The old man asked them to sit down in a rough voice, and then threw a box into Zhang Gij's arms. It was really thrown and almost hit her face. Lin Mushing stared at him. "Can't you just give it to her? Don't talk nonsense. Let her open it." Zhang Gij didn't visit today, because she couldn't get up. Last night, Lin Mushing didn't stop as if he had taken an aphrodisiac. In his own words, "Gij, it turns out that you can have a golden gun." Looking at the shameless man who was still holding her, Zhang Gij was so tired that she didn't even have the strength to hit him. She moved her head and saw the jade bracelet on the bedside table, which was given to her by Lin Zhen yesterday. "This is handed down to my daughter-in-law in our family. Hurry up and find a day to get married." When old Master Lin said this, his face showed that he agreed to let her marry into the family. "Are you very happy?" Lin Mushing held her and said, "I will arrange it right away. Your wedding dress will be custom-made from abroad. It will take at least a month. Although it will take a long time, I can't let you suffer. Do you like the banquet indoors or outdoors?" he suddenly asked. Zhang Gij glanced at him lazily. "Is there any rule?" "Well, there is no rule." Lin Mushing kissed her. "We usually do it in the hotel, but if you like it outdoors, we can do it outdoors." Oh, Zhang Gij understood. "It's easy to be killed by your enemies outdoors, isn't it?" Lin Mushing didn't expect her to be so smart that she guessed it at once. No one in their line of work was clean. Who would expose himself outside for so long? It was obvious that he was telling others. "Come on, I'm right here. Come and kill me." Zhang Gij shook her head indifferently. "It's up to you. I don't have any friends. Only my brother and Asha will come." When speaking of Asha, she glanced at Lin Mushing. Lin Mushing became alert. "What's with that look?" "Nothing." Zhang Gij withdrew her gaze. "Nonsense, obviously there is." Lin Mushing turned over and pressed her on the bed. "I know what you think." Zhang Gij knew that he used to pursue Asha. Was this situation called jealousy? Lin Mushing said happily. "In fact, I thought about it later. It's not love. It's just that when I was in a desperate situation, she suddenly appeared and saved me, giving me hope to live." For a long time, Lin Mushing had regarded the young Asha as his savior. He had even imagined her as an angel who had come to save him. But it was not love. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been surrounded by women for so many years. If Asha didn't have Wan Qingxi, he would definitely marry her, treat her well, and then fall in love with her. But there was no if. Many things in the world had their original track. Lin Mushing was very grateful to Asha. First, because she saved him. Second, it was she who brought Zhang Gij to him, so that he could have a perfect life for the rest of his life. "Can I ask for a favor?" Zhang Gij pushed his face away and said seriously, "It's about the wedding." Seeing that she was finally interested in discussing, Lin Mushing sat up excitedly. "Whatever, as long as you like it." Zhang Gij smiled. "Can we have a Chinese wedding? Just like an ancient wedding." "You like that?" Lin Mushing was a little surprised. "Do you like to wear a cheongsam?" "Not a cheongsam." Zhang Gij shook her head. "It's a very ancient one with a veil." "Got it." Lin Mushing kissed her. "Don't worry. I'll give you a beautiful wedding." What Zhang Gij didn't expect was that Lin Mushing could make the wedding so grand. "It's so beautiful." When the red brocade wedding dress was delivered, Zhang Gij was stunned. Even Lin Zhen jumped next to her. "It's the same as on TV." The old man touched the phoenix on the wedding dress. "Gee, this is golden thread. And this is natural pearl." Zhang Gij couldn't describe the luxury of the dress. The dense golden thread outlined the phoenix spreading its wings. The long skirt was like the phoenix's tail, decorated with pearls and jade. Even the veil she wanted was a crown made of pure gold, with a dense golden tassel hanging down in front of her face. Girl, go and try it. It'll crush you. Lin Mushing ignored Lin Jun's words. He asked someone to send the wedding dress upstairs, and took out several velvet boxes. I custom-made these in CK. See if you like them. Zhang Gij hurriedly asked. Is it Mrs. Ng? Yes, she designed them herself. Really? Zhang Gij felt a little sorry. She knew how much Ng Qingtsong cherished Xian Qing. It must be very hard to design several sets of jewelry in such a short time. She opened the boxes one by one. There was a set of jade with gold, a set of pearls, and a set of very modern diamond jewelry. Lin Mushing saw her touching them one by one, and there was a little hesitation in her eyes. He said, these designs were drawn by Mrs. Ng when she was at peace. It's not hard. Don't think too much. What's there to think? Lin Jun said in a rough voice. We're not worse than the Ng family. Zhang Gij looked at Lin Jun moved. Thank you, Mr. Lin. She knew what Lin Jun meant. He wanted to let her know that she was now a member of the Lin family, with status and background, just as Lin Mushing said before. You're the young mistress of the Lin family. No one can bully you, not even me. Lin Jun stared at her. What did you call me? Well, Zhang Gij was a little embarrassed. When she was about to change her words, Lin Mushing covered her mouth. Dad, where is the golden bracelet? Chapter 472. Zhang Gij looked at him confusedly. Lin Mushing explained to her. According to the custom here, the daughter-in-law should give gold bracelets to change her mind. The more the heavier, the more her husband's family will value her. Lin Jun snorted and ran up the stairs. Not long after, he ran back down. Zhang Gij saw that he was carrying a plastic bag, which was no different from those in the supermarket. Then he walked to her and said, Here you are. Thank you, Dad. Zhang Gij stammered, not because she was shy, but because the thing in her hand was heavy. It was a bag full of gold bracelets, which looked like something bought casually in the night market. You must have packed the bracelets in the gold shop without looking at them, right? Lin Mushing rummaged inside and said, Look at this pattern. It's for the old man, okay? He picked up one and shook it. Zhang Gij laughed when she heard that. Then she looked at the finger-thick gold bracelet in his hand, which was carved with the pattern of Fu, Lu Shou, and Shou. She laughed directly. Honey, you go back and choose. If you can't take it, you can go to the gold shop to melt it. Make a set of gold bowls and chopsticks and put it in the restaurant. Lin Mushing was good at making arrangements. Anyway, he would not leave it to his father. Lin Jun waved his hand and said, Whatever you want. Then he asked Lin Mushing expectantly, After seeing the girls, it's time to see mine, right? What's yours? Lin Mushing asked strangely. Dad, do you also want to wear a Chong Sam? You son of a bitch. Lin Jun waved his crutch and turned to go upstairs angrily. On the way, he shouted, I'm not going to the wedding. Zhang Gij pushed the gloating man and said, Why do you make the old man angry? He'll get sick later. It's okay. The doctor said to prevent him from getting dementia. Lin Jun didn't see his clothes until 2 days before the wedding. It was a dark purple tang suit. When the old man took the clothes from Lin Mushing, he deliberately said, It's so dark. It doesn't look good at all. Then don't wear it. Lin Mushing pretended to take it back. Lin Jun patted his hand and went upstairs with the clothes. On the last day of May, Zhang Gij got married. Asha and Zhang Zhe looked at the bride in a wedding dress with different expressions. TSK, so beautiful. Asha touched the embroidery on the wedding dress. This was embroidered by the best master on my mother's side. Brother Xuan said that only extraordinary people are qualified to wear this. Zhang Gij took her hand and said gratefully, Please thank Auntie Xian for me. She just took care of me because of her leg. When I return home next month, I will visit her in person. Don't mention it. Asha hugged her. My mom likes to do these things. She'll only be happy if someone likes her designs. Zhang Gij nodded and looked at her brother. Sister. Zhang Zhe didn't expect his sister to agree to the marriage so soon. He thought that it could be delayed until next year. I'm fine. I'll be happy. Zheng Gij patted him on the shoulder. From now on you have to walk your own life. Zheng Zhe sniffed. I will. From then on, his sister would belong to another man. He had to work hard to be the best escape route for his sister, so that she could always turn back. There was a knock on the door and a beautiful man walked in. Brother Xuan. Asha was held in Wan Qingxi's arms with a smile. Zheng Gij smiled and said hello. Mr. Wan. Just call me by my name. Wan Qingxi nodded and then touched Asha's belly. Don't stand for too long. Take care of your body. Asha was only 2 months pregnant. If Zheng Gij wasn't Asha's best friend, Wan Qingxi wouldn't have allowed her to come here. It's okay. I didn't do anything. Asha didn't understand the anxious mood of the expectant father at all. Then her eyes suddenly lit up. Gij, you can have a daughter in the future. Let's be in-laws. Zheng Gij asked curiously. How do you know you're pregnant with a son? My mother has seen a traditional Chinese medicine doctor. It's a boy. Wan Qingxi pursed his lips. He didn't want to be in-laws with Lin Mushing, so he changed the topic. It's time. Let's go out. The wedding of the Lin family was like a magnificent movie. The streets were covered with red dresses, and a band playing Suona cleared the way. The groom rode a white horse in the front. Behind him, a boy in a tang suit threw petals. Among the 8 people with golden heads and red bodies, the bride was sitting in a wedding dress. Zheng Gij held an apple in her hand and watched the golden tassel in front of her swaying with the rhythm of the sedan. Her heart gradually calmed down. Through the gap of the sedan curtain, her eyes fell on Lin Mushing. From now on, this man would never leave her. They would live and die together. The wind blew, as if whispering something. Lin Mushing suddenly looked back. They looked at each other and smiled. The prosperity of the street faded from the bottom of their eyes. Choose one to spend the rest of his life with, and the other to grow old. In the military shooting range, the recruits were in a group, staring at the girl in front of them excitedly. How many bullet holes do you think there are today? 5. I guess 4. A burly man strode over. You bastards! Why are you making noise here instead of practicing? You're not allowed to eat today if you don't use up a box of bullets. With a howl, everyone scattered like birds and beasts. The man who drove the others away laughed, and his eyes fell on the girl who came over. In the distance, the group of recruits had already rushed to the target to count the bullet holes. Uncle Xiong. The girl took off the protective hat on her head, revealing a delicate and beautiful, expressionless face. Bear twitched his mouth. How are you today? 4. Tuanzi stretched out 2 fingers. I haven't made progress for a long time. Haha, I'll send you out. There weren't many people in the world who could hit 4 bullet holes out of 10 bullets. And Miss Zhang's goal was only 1. Woof, woof. The big black dog lying next to the car saw its master, and stood up to wag its tail. Tuanzi touched its head and opened the door. Bear looked at Hazy, who was half a man high, with pity. This was the difference between a human and a dog. Hazy was already 10 years old. Tuanzi stopped letting it participate in tasks 2 years ago. Everyone knew that Hazy could live for another 5 years at most, but Tuanzi never mentioned it, so they pretended not to know. But in fact, Scar had begun to choose Hazy's offspring to train, preparing to be Hazy's substitute. The car slowly drove out of the army. The driver was a young soldier with delicate features. The chief just called and asked you to go home quickly. Tuanzi nodded. Okay, go home. The young man swallowed his saliva and stared at the steering wheel. He kept encouraging himself. It's okay. It's just that my face is the same as the chief's. I'm not the chief's. Don't be nervous, don't be nervous. But even the expression was the same as that of the chief's. How could it be a burden? Who could tell him why a girl less than 18 years old was so expressionless? Are you back? Chen Chen walked out of the kitchen and asked again. Jiang Rui took over the plate in his hand. She's on the way. This was the hilltop villa area in the east of the city. The whole family moved here when Jiang Rui was 2 or 3 years old. The security here was the best in the capital. Of course, it couldn't be compared with the military compound. But Jiang Rui didn't want to live there. He didn't want his son to contact the army at a young age. 3 generations of the Jiang family had been in the army. His daughter was destined to walk the same path as him. He only had one son left. He hoped that he could have a different life. Jiang Min had passed away 5 years ago and had passed away peacefully. As for Song Chuanli, she had gone crazy when the terrorists were wiped out. Chen Chen said that the person who hypnotized her was dead, so her brain was also affected. Maybe it was a coincidence that Song Chuanli also passed away in the second month after Jiang Min left. When Tuanzi entered the house, she saw Chen Chen sitting shyly in Jiang Rui's arms. Her mouth was red and swollen. She knew what they had just done. It's not bad to have a younger sister. She joked with a serious face. Chen Chen got down from Jiang Rui's arms with a red face. She was in her 30s but still looked like a little girl. Her face didn't match her age. She was well protected by Jiang Rui. When they went out, others always thought that they were sisters. Come and eat some fruit. Jiang Rui changed the topic and threw an envelope on the table. Tuanzi sat on the sofa and Hazy naturally lay at her feet. What's that? Chen Chen said excitedly. It's good. Have a look. It was an invitation letter. It was the most advanced coming-of-age ceremony in America. The girls who could attend this ceremony were all selected. Even if they were rich or powerful, they might not be able to attend. They selected girls based on their comprehensive qualities. Tuanzi was the only one in the country who had received an invitation. I haven't been there. Chen Chen curled her lips. Jiang Rui pinched her little face. Weren't you hiding from me when you were 18? So, my daughter has to go. Chen Chen took Tuanzi's hand. It is said that the daughters of the presidents of several countries also attended last year. Will you go? She was afraid that Tuanzi would refuse. She was so cute when she was a child. But somehow the older she grew, the more she looked like Jiang Rui. Only their faces were similar, but now even their expressions and temperaments were the same. In Bear's words, Tuanzi was a female version of Jiang Rui. Chen Chen complained more than once, and wanted her lovely daughter to come back. But what did Jiang Rui say? Isn't our son like you? It's enough to have 2 idiots in the family. Bullseye. The second son of the Jiang family was named Tang Yuan, and his full name was Jiang Minglang. The name was given by Jiang Rui. He hoped that Tang Yuan could live the life he wanted freely and not be restrained by anything. So the child was also raised freely when he was a child. Fortunately for Jiang Rui and the Wan family, the child didn't have the same ability as Tuanzi. Although his IQ was higher than ordinary children, he probably inherited more of Chen Chen's genes and often did some stupid things. Mom, you want me to go? Tuanzi was still expressionless and picked up a piece of watermelon. Chen Chen nodded fiercely. Anyway, she had never cared about her image in front of her daughter. She said pitifully, Go, go. What a good life experience it is. It can't be bought with money. Go. Jiang Rui was a standard wife slave and made the decision for his daughter. Tuanzi shrugged. Then go. Chen Chen happily went to pack her luggage, leaving the father and daughter to talk in the living room. It's good to go out and have fun. Don't stay in the army every day. Jiang Rui was worried about his daughter. How did she grow up like this? Tuanzi nodded. Who will go with me? It was impossible for Jiang Rui to go abroad with his identity, and he was more worried about Chen Chen going out alone. When Pintang, Jiang Rui glanced at her. Your partner is Wen Ziyu. Tuanzi didn't respond. She didn't know any other men except Wen Ziyu. You still don't know why he left? 4 years ago, Wen Ziyu suddenly proposed to study in the US. No one knew what happened between the 2 little guys. I don't know. Tuanzi really didn't know. At that time, Wen Ziyu suddenly asked if she would be sad if he left. Tuanzi shook her head at that time. Unexpectedly, he left the next day. She called him, but Wen Ziyu's attitude didn't change. I also have to work hard to be a man worthy of you. You have to be obedient when I'm not with you. Seeing that he was fine, Tuanzi didn't ask more questions. After that, she didn't contact Wen Ziyu again. She didn't even call him. But every year on her birthday and special occasions, she would receive gifts from Wen Ziyu. The invitation indicated that the coming-of-age ceremony would be held at the end of the next month, but they needed to be there 1 week in advance for confirmation. Tuanzi was taken back to S City by Chen Chen. Xianqing was asked to design a traditional Chinese dress and jewelry for Tuanzi. That was Jiang Rui's request. She represented the country when she went abroad, so she naturally had to wear traditional national costumes. When Tang Yuan, who was 10 years old, knew that his sister was going abroad, it was already the day before the departure. I want to go too. He hid in the suitcase and didn't come out. Tuanzi said calmly, Dad won't let you go. Put me in the suitcase. Tang Yuan looked at her eagerly. Anyway, it's the one family's plane. It won't pass the security check. No. Tuanzi refused him. Tang Yuan said angrily, Why? Because you're too heavy. Jiang Rui had just taken off his wife's pajamas when the door was pushed open. Mom, I want to go with my sister. Let's go together. Tang Yuan rushed in while wiping his nose. When he was about to climb onto the bed, he saw his mother hiding in the quilt and looking at him sympathetically. Jiang Rui got off the bed with a dark face. Tang Yuan stammered, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to not knock on the door. Mom, save me. Dad, I won't dare to do it again. I won't dare to not knock on the door again. The child was crying miserably while being carried out by his father. Tuanzi didn't come out until she heard no sound. Unsurprisingly, she found her brother who had been punished to stand for an hour in the storage room downstairs. This place is also your private territory. Tuanzi patted Tang Yuan's shoulder. This was the place where Jiang Rui punished them. Whoever made a mistake would be locked up here as a punishment. But only Tang Yuan had this treatment, because Tuanzi had never made a mistake. Sister, you must be adopted by Mom. Am I not your biological brother? Take me with you. Tang Yuan still didn't give up. Tuanzi glanced at him. If one of us is not biological, it must be you. I look the same as Dad. What about you? Tang Yuan burst into tears. Yes, he didn't look like Jiang Rui or Chen Chen. It should be said that he had completely inherited the advantages of his parents. His eyes were like Chen Chen's, his mouth was like Jiang Rui's, and he was more beautiful than his parents. But because of this, he cried for a long time when he saw Tuanzi, who looked exactly like Jiang Rui when he was sensible. The young Tang Yuan thought that since his sister looked like his father, he should look like his mother. But why didn't he look like anyone? At that time, Wen Ziyu comforted him and told him that he would look like his mother when he grew up. Unfortunately, Tang Yuan, who was waiting for him to grow up, found that the more he looked like his mother, the less he looked like his mother. But you must be my biological brother, Tuanzi added, because your brain is very similar to Mom's. Tang Yuan cried. No wonder his sister had no friends. Who would be willing to be her friend with such a sharp tongue? No matter how Tang Yuan cried and acted shamelessly, he was mercilessly rejected in the end. Chen Chen was soft-hearted and wanted to let him go. But she was stopped by Jiang Rui's eyes and Tuanzi's words. Do you want him to send him abroad? Let everyone know that the young master of the Jiang family is a fool? After Tuanzi got on the plane and left, Chen Chen came to her senses and held Jiang Rui in her arms. Your daughter said that I was a fool. Good girl. She was talking about Tang Yuan. Tang Yuan said, But Dad, you often say that I'm the same as Mom. So Tang Yuan stood in the storage room again. On the private plane of the Wen family, Tuanzi stared at the white clouds outside, and suddenly turned to ask Wen Pintang, Uncle, why did little Zay leave? The man in front of her was nearly 60 years old, but he was still elegant. However, time had precipitated a purer and more ethereal temperament on him. If someone didn't know him, they would definitely think that he was a hermit master. When Pintang was reading documents, hearing Tuanzi's words, he smiled at her and said, I thought you wouldn't ask this question. He had been gone for 4 years, and now she asked, Because I'm going to see him soon. Tuanzi said seriously, Know yourself and know your enemy. Alas! When Pintang sighed silently, how did this girl grow up like this? Tuanzi knew that he was melancholy from his eyes. In the past few years, everyone looked at her with this kind of eyes, and she had been used to it. I don't know either. When Pintang rubbed her head and said, Many things are only interesting when you understand and discover them by yourself. Seeing that the girl in front of him was still frowning, he added, Tuanzi, You can take it as a task. Task. Yes. When Pintang said, "What happened 4 years ago that made little Zay leave you? You have to find out the secret by yourself." Tuanzi suddenly had the fighting spirit. She clenched her fists and said, "I see." Then she continued to look out of the window. After a while, when Pintang couldn't help but ask again, "Tuanzi, when are you going to marry into my family?" He thought that it was better to have a plan first, so that his son could feel at ease later. "Well, isn't this your decision?" Tuanzi looked at him with a "Why are you asking me?" When Pintang smiled and said, "Haha, yes. Son, you have a long way to go. Take care." Late at night, the library was ablaze with lights. This was the world's top university. Presidents and politicians of many countries graduated from here. Even this library was ranked at the top of the world's architectural rankings. In a seat near the window, an Asian man was looking out of the window with his chin in his hands. So handsome. Yes. There were discussions from time to time. Every time a girl walked by, she would stare at the man for a long time like a love-struck fool. As soon as Lisa came in, her eyes fell on the man, and she glared at the girls around her. Everyone lowered their heads and avoided her. No one wanted to be stared at by this young lady. Then there was always someone who was not afraid of trouble. A brown-haired beauty came in from the door. No wonder everyone left. "You are here." Lisa suddenly glared back and said, "Sheila, don't think that I am afraid of you. If your father were not in the parliament, I would have driven you out of school." Ha. The girl named Sheila smiled and said, "Lisa, don't be a pot calling the kettle black. You can stand here and behave atrociously. Is it because of your own ability? I got in because of my own ability. What about you? You are just relying on your father, who is a general. Otherwise, you can't get into an ordinary university with your IQ." Seeing that the two girls were about to fight, the man by the window moved. He went straight to the door without looking at Lisa and Sheila. Senior 1. Lisa stopped him. When Ziyu turned around and said, "What's the matter?" His handsome facial features were even more dazzling under the light. His long and narrow phoenix eyes were like a pool of moonlight. As his eyes moved, they scattered broken diamonds all over the ground. After growing up, Ziyu had inherited Pintang's noble and elegant temperament. But his eyes were like his mother's, gorgeous and ostentatious. "Can you be my partner for the coming-of-age ceremony next week?" Lisa walked over and stared at the man. At the opening ceremony, she was fascinated by Ziyu when she saw him for the first time. When she knew that his identity and background were enough to match her, she began to pursue him. Unfortunately, there was no progress for more than a year. However, as long as Ziyu did not have a woman around him, she would slowly guard him until this man belonged to her. "Ha." Sheila showed a mocking expression and said, "Idiot." Lisa gritted her teeth. She did not want to quarrel with this woman in front of Ziyu. Her purpose today was to let Ziyu be her partner. "Senior 1, can I?" Ziyu turned and left. "No." Lisa did not react for a while. When Ziyu went out, she was ready to chase him, but was stopped by Sheila. "What are you doing? Get out of my way." Sheila shook her head and said, "Senior 1 has refused you. Do you think he will change his mind if you chase him?" Thinking of Ziyu's usual behavior, Lisa was sad and angry. She pushed Sheila away and said, "What are you proud of? Even if he refuses me, he will not be your partner." Then she ran away. Chapter 473. At this time, Ziyu had arrived at the school gate. The servant of the Wen family opened the door. "Young master will arrive in an hour." Well, to the airport. It was almost midnight when the plane landed. The temperature difference in me was huge. Even in the early summer, the night wind was still cold. "Tuanzi, put on your windbreaker." "Thank you, uncle." Tuanzi put on her clothes obediently, and then took Pintang's hand to get off the plane slowly. A Maybach was parked below. The dim light elongated the figure. Tuanzi watched the man walk to her. "Tuanzi, long time no see." When Ziyu stood in front of the French window with a glass of red wine, the sound of water coming from the bathroom made his heart beat uncontrollably. After 4 years, he finally felt that the girl was by his side. Although he had never stopped hearing from her, his subordinates would report Tuanzi's schedule to him every day, and he could receive photos of the little girl every day. In the morning she would run, eat, be in a daze and beat someone. But at this moment, he felt that his little wife was back. Little Zay. Tuanzi walked out in pajamas. When Ziyu's soft eyes fell on her dripping hair. Come here. Just like when Tuanzi was in the One family, when Ziyu would dry her hair every time she took a shower. Now they had changed their appearance in the mirror, but some things would never change. The gown is ready. I'll take you to try it tomorrow. When Ziyu's hand stroked the girl's hair, and he couldn't help rubbing it with his lips, Tuanzi leaned on him lazily. We haven't seen each other for 4 years. The loose pajamas revealed half of her shoulders. Looking from Wen Ziyu's direction, 2 snow-white hemispheres were looming. He coughed, wrapped Tuanzi's hair, and sat beside her. Did you miss me? Tuanzi tilted her head slightly and looked at Wen Ziyu's eyes, which were more beautiful than hers. Then she realized that the little tail that always followed her had become a man. You are so good-looking. Tuanzi praised him. More importantly, she could see the color on Wen Ziyu's body. Just like when they were young, every time he looked at her, his eyes were all hot red. Wen Ziyu rubbed her head and laughed in a low voice. You are also good-looking, just like when you were young. Tuanzi habitually pulled him onto the bed. Are you sleepy? I'm jet-lagged and can't sleep. I'll talk to you. Wen Ziyu tucked her in. Wait for me. The two of them were like a married couple who had lived together for many years. They didn't need to speak to know each other's intentions. It was as if the 4 years of separation had never happened. Everything was just like when they were young. After Wen Ziyu took a shower, Tuanzi was leaning against the bed and looking at the tablet. Very naturally, he lifted the blanket and lay down. What are you looking at? Look at the list of the coming-of-age ceremony. Tuanzi pointed at the photos on the list. These 2 girls are from your school. The 2 girls in the photo were Ellie and Sheila, whom Wen Ziyu had seen earlier. He casually swept his eyes over her. Blonde hair, the only daughter of an admiral. Her father is the representative of the Conservative Party, and has been in contact with the Wen family recently. Well, Tuanzi frowned. She pressed a button and the detailed information of Ellie, Sarah, and Sheila appeared. When she saw Ellie's message, she blinked. It was Wen Ziyu's turn to frown. What kind of network is this? Uncle Xiaoxi's private database. Tuanzi glanced at him. Ellie likes you. She tapped on the tablet. Wen Ziyu was a little angry. Why did Xiaoxi know so much about him? Then he felt relieved. He had sent someone to follow Tuanzi every day. Wen Ziyu completely believed that if he dared to show any affection to any woman, Jiang Rui would skin him alive, and then he would never be able to see Tuanzi again. She often harasses me, Wen Ziyu said without hesitation. Anyway, it was the truth. Tuanzi hummed and continued to look at other people's information. Wen Ziyu looked at her and knew that she didn't take it seriously at all. He felt uncomfortable, but he still grabbed her hand and rubbed it calmly. Don't worry about the ball. I'm here. I know, Tuanzi said, but her eyes were still staring at the tablet. Jiang Rui once told her not to give hope to anyone. Only by controlling everything could she control the overall situation. Wen Ziyu pursed his lips and continued to be cold. You haven't told me whether you miss me these years, Yes. Tuanzi nodded and looked at him sideways. You. What's wrong? Wen Ziyu looked calm, but he was shouting in his heart. Ask me why I left. Tuanzi blinked and said, Forget it. It's okay. Then she lowered her head. She thought of Wen Pintang's words, and decided to find out the truth by herself. And she didn't think it was serious, because Wen Ziyu hadn't changed. Since he hadn't changed, the reason why he left 4 years ago might be to go to school. Go to sleep. Wen Ziyu took the tablet away from her hand in frustration. Tuanzi didn't say anything. They lay side by side on the bed, hand in hand, just like when they were little. Wen Ziyu looked at the little girl who was really going to sleep with her eyes closed and sighed in his heart. He knew that Tuanzi could see some information about him. He didn't feel anything before, but now he was complaining. How could he force the little girl to admit that she liked him? No matter what he did, as long as Tuanzi looked at him, she would know what was wrong with him. Tuanzi, who was next to him, didn't know the man's dilemma at this time. Soon her breathing calmed down. When she was about to fall asleep, she suddenly said, "It's better to sleep hand in hand." When Ziyu had been scheming about what would happen. As a result, when he went to try on the dress the next day, someone came to him. Senior 1. Sheila looked at the person who came in surprise, especially when she saw that he was holding a girl's hand. Tuanzi only glanced at her and recognized that she was the girl in yesterday's file. When Ziyu smiled at Sheila. Seeing him, Sheila gently lowered her head and introduced herself to the girl. "This is a junior in our school." "Hello." Sheila hid the surprise in her eyes again, because it was the first time that when Ziyu admitted that she was a junior in his school. He had always ignored her before. However, when Ziyu's next behavior made her wonder if she opened her eyes in the wrong way today. "You talk to Sheila. I'll get mine first, and then I'll accompany you upstairs to try on the dress." When Ziyu pulled Tuanzi to her side under Sheila's gaze. "Junior, help me take care of her." Sheila nodded instinctively, but in fact she didn't react at all. "What's wrong?" Tuanzi asked her. Sheila's mood was very unstable. Tuanzi found that she seemed to be shocked and excited. "Ah. Nothing. Sheila looked at the face of the girl next to her carefully. She was very delicate and had beautiful facial features. She didn't seem to be old, but Oriental dolls always looked young. Sheila judged that she should be about the same age as her. She thought about it and decided to ask, "Are you friends with Senior 1? Tuanzi shook her head. Sheila thought that she didn't want to say it, so she heard it. "Child bride." "What?" Sheila thought that she heard it wrong. Child bride?" Tuanzi blinked, thinking that the foreigner might not know what a child bride was, but she didn't want to explain because she was not familiar with Sheila. Moreover, she had heard this word from Tang Yuan. At that time, when Ziyu was still by her side every day, she lived in the Wen family more than in her own home. Once, Tang Yuan watched some TV and pointed at her and shouted, "Sister is a child bride. She is the child bride of brother-in-law's family." As for the title of brother-in-law, when Ziyu exchanged it with a robot model, Tuanzi thought that she did seem to be the child bride of the Wen family. When Pintang coaxed her to call him father for a while. Later, Jiang Rui knew it, and the two men had a friendly talk. Then Bear and the others said that they couldn't change their words until they got the property of the Wen family. Tut, our Tuanzi's calling of father is really valuable. Chen liked to say that, and then looked envious and jealous. So later, she regarded herself as the child bride of the Wen family. "You mean you are Senior Wen's fiancé?" Sheila finally realized it and couldn't help raising her voice. "How is it possible?" Tuanzi found that her mood had changed, which was mixed with jealousy and uncertainty. "Why is it impossible?" Tuanzi looked at her. Sheila still wanted to say something, but when she saw that when Ziyu had come back, she quickly closed her mouth and smiled. "Go and choose the dress with Senior 1. Let's talk about it at the coming-of-age ball." When Ziyu glanced at Sheila with an unfathomable look and took Tuanzi upstairs. He deliberately walked slowly, and his mouth was almost close to Tuanzi's ear. 2 minutes later, Elisha saw the photo that Sheila posted on the campus BBS. It was one Ziyu holding a girl, and he was lowering his head as if he was going to kiss her. Her face turned blue at that time. In a short time, there were thousands of comments under the post, all of which were surprised and unbelievable. "Sheila, where did you get it?" Elisha dialed the phone with a serious face. Sheila on the other side of the phone sneered. "I took it." "I don't believe it." "Where are you?" Sheila sneered. "When you come here, she will be gone. But don't worry. You will see her at the coming-of-age ball. Senior Wen's fiancé." Later, she heard that Elisha even smashed the phone and looked for Wen Ziyu everywhere. Unfortunately, she didn't even have his number, and Wen Ziyu had asked for leave and hadn't returned to school. Therefore, Elisha finally saw Tuanzi in the photo on the day of the coming-of-age ball. "So beautiful." The girl in front of him was wearing a white short dress, which was decorated with silver flowers, which made Tuanzi, who was usually expressionless, look like an elf coming out of the night. Tuanzi rarely smiled. I will wear the cheongsam designed by Grandma at the ceremony later. Wenziyu nodded. Let's go, my princess. The man's breath was obviously unstable just now. Tuanzi knew that it was called desire, a man's desire for a woman. After getting in the car, she looked sideways and was caught by Wenziyu's eyes. What's wrong? Tuanzi said very seriously. Okay, just don't let my dad know. What? Wenziyu didn't understand, but he saw Tuanzi stretch out a thin white thigh. Get on the bed. Squeak. There was a harsh breaking sound, and Wenziyu looked at the girl beside him with a frightened face. You don't want to? Tuanzi looked at him. Her body was so red. Wenziyu gritted his teeth and started the car again. Don't say this in front of my dad later. Okay. Tuanzi shrugged her shoulders. I'm not a fool. It's a matter between lovers. As if to comfort Wenziyu, she patted him on the shoulder. Wenziyu sighed, grabbed her hand and squeezed it. For so many years he hadn't even kissed her face, for fear of scaring her. However, she wasn't afraid at all, and was much stronger than him. Glancing at Tuanzi's faintly visible cleavage, Wenziyu wondered if he could do something tonight. But on second thought, Tuanzi's real 18th birthday was still 2 months away. It was too crazy to have sex with her now. The point was he was afraid that Jiang Rui would kill him. I can't go to the ceremony later. Dad will be with you. Don't be afraid. Wenziyu casually found a topic, but Tuanzi glanced at him and asked, What's there to be afraid of? I'm just showing my concern. Wenziyu felt sad. Didn't other boyfriends say the same thing? Tuanzi replied with a no. After thinking for a while, she raised her head and said, Well, don't worry. I will protect myself. In order to make Wenziyu feel that she was sincere, she even put her hands on her chest and pretended to hold her heart. Tuanzi. Wenziyu held his forehead. You don't have to act like this. I know you. This is the disadvantage of childhood sweethearts. Tuanzi concluded. If you know each other too well, there won't be any surprises. Wenziyu didn't dare to say anything more and just nodded. But he thought in his mind, You just pretended to be shy with such a serious expression. Any normal person would feel strange. The coming-of-age ceremony was held in a high-end hotel. It was said that the state banquets were held here. When Pintang had been waiting for them at the door, he picked up Tuanzi and went to the girls' rest area. Wenziyu watched them leave. When he was about to turn around and enter the men's rest area, he was stopped. General Wilton. Wenziyu nodded calmly and glanced at the father and daughter. Elisha straightened her chest and looked at him affectionately. For today's coming-of-age ceremony, she ordered a dress at a high price. The red mermaid dress wrapped her body tightly, which made her curvy figure even more sexy. Her plump upper body seemed to be about to fall out at any time. Many men stared at her passionately. Child one, I thought you would be Elisha's dance partner tonight. General Wilton was still smiling when he said this, but everyone could hear the dissatisfaction in his words. Wenziyu lifted the corner of his mouth. I am not familiar with Elisha. Why do you think so, General? Senior 1. You. Elisha didn't expect that he wouldn't give her face. In school, she had always considered herself as Wenziyu's girlfriend. Now that he said so, it would be spread all over the social circle tomorrow. Wilton stopped his daughter from speaking with his eyes and stared at Wenziyu. Child one, may I know which family's daughter is your dance partner? Haha, she is my fiancée. Wenziyu smiled faintly. She just flew over from China a few days ago. Then I would like to meet her later. Wilton patted his daughter's hand and turned to leave with her. When they reached a place where there was no one else, Elisha stomped her feet and asked, Dad, why did you stop me? I don't believe that he has a fiancée. Idiot, it doesn't matter if she is his fiancée or not. Anyone who can attend the coming-of-age ceremony can't be a simple person. Wilton reminded his daughter. I asked them for the name list before, but I was rejected. They didn't even give me face. He lowered his head and thought for a moment. We will talk about it when we meet. Don't be stubborn on today's occasion. I don't care. I must marry Wenziyu. Eliza clenched her fists and thought to herself, I'm going to see who it is that can make Senior one her dance partner later. Wilton frowned. He didn't care who his daughter liked, but she had to choose the person she wanted to marry. The one family was indeed suitable. It would be best if they could form a marriage alliance. But if not, he didn't want to offend them. When he saw Elisha's reaction, he decided to keep an eye on her today so that his daughter wouldn't ruin it. Before the ceremony, there would be a dance party for the girls to show off. Many of the girls might not have a dance partner, so they would have to choose a male partner prepared for them during the dance party. Of course, these male partners were all people of status and background. They were there to meet more beautiful girls, or to find a suitable marriage partner. Elisha's partner was her father's subordinate, but the subordinate wasn't happy at all. He felt that he was unlucky to be sent to accompany the willful daughter of a rich family. He thought that he would have a miserable night. As expected, when the music started, Elisha dragged him to the dance floor and whispered in his ear. Do you see Wenziyu? If you see him, bring me to him. He's not here. The subordinate looked around and didn't see Wenziyu. Elisha didn't give up and looked around, stepping on her partner from time to time. The 8-inch high heels were definitely a weapon. The subordinate held back his tears and turned around on the dance floor, looking forward to Wenziyu's appearance more than Elisha did. I see him. Let's go. Elisha suddenly shouted. Wenziyu was taking Tuanzi from his father. The staff in charge of the coming-of-age ceremony tied ribbons of the same color on their arms, proving that they were each other's prince and princess tonight. Are you hungry? Tuanzi shook her head. I heard that there will be a buffet after the ceremony. As a foodie, Tuanzi had high requirements for food. Food and guns were her only two pursuits in life. Thinking of this, Wenziyu's eyes darkened. When could he get rid of these two pursuits? Come here. Tuanzi looked behind him. Wenziyu took her around and saw Elisha and the subordinate who was baring his teeth. He leaned close to Tuanzi's ear and whispered. You can see the color on her body. Jealousy and craziness. Tuanzi rolled her eyes. How did you provoke her? Wenziyu smiled and didn't answer. Elisha had already come to them. Senior one, who is she? Looking at the aggressive Elisha, the subordinate couldn't help knocking his head. If he wasn't the general, who would fall in love with such a brainless and domineering girl? She is my fiancée, Wenziyu said softly. The subordinate stared at him as if he had seen a ghost. Didn't they say that this young master never talked to women? Elisha's eyes also brightened. It was the first time that Wenziyu had answered her question, and he was so gentle. Now, she was more sure that the so-called fiancé must be arranged by her family. Elisha felt proud. My family is so good that I can definitely beat this woman. Miss, let's exchange partners. Elisha raised her neck and pushed the subordinate out. Tuanzi looked at Wenziyu, and then looked at the apologetic subordinate. She shook her head and said, No. Why not? Why should I? Tuanzi glanced at him. He is not as good-looking as Ozawa. Then she grinned at Wenziyu. Right? Wenziyu nodded. Yes. Senior one. Elisha's face changed. Do you really want to be her partner? Of course. Wenziyu looked at her with gentle eyes. She is my fiancée. My father will send her to the ceremony in person tonight. Tuanzi glanced at Wenziyu and frowned. Elisha immediately thought, I see. So he said it for the sake of his family. Then I will go to see his father later. In Elisha's opinion, the one family would definitely choose her. She looked at Tuanzi up and down again, and soon classified her as a harmless girl who was not to be feared. Well, let's talk about it at dinner later. Elisha winked at Wenziyu, glanced at Tuanzi proudly and left. Seeing her leave, Wenziyu immediately hugged Tuanzi and said, Let's continue dancing. You did it on purpose. Tuanzi looked at him. What? Wenziyu played dumb. Tuanzi pursed her lips and stopped talking. I did it on purpose, Wenziyu thought. He wanted to get more women so that Tuanzi could see her feelings for him clearly. He had liked Tuanzi since they were children, but now he couldn't stop himself. The men in the one family were all like this. As long as they were determined, They would never change. Every step of his life was planned by Tuanzi. He hoped that Tuanzi would be the same. Not because she was used to it, not because they grew up together, but because she loved him. Because she loved him, she was willing to marry him. He endured the torturous lovesickness for 4 years just to give Tuanzi space and time to think about their relationship. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.